Peace, 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 everybody. Peace and love and prosperity. I'm going to let some people flood in for a second. I am going to play some music just so I can get everybody in here. Okay. I know this is an impromptu live stream. This is something I've been wanting to do. This focus is really messed up. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while. If you all don't know, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And if some of you have actually looked at my older videos, I have done a domestic violence live stream. So, well, actually, was it a live stream? Yeah, I think it was a live stream. But either which way, I've done it about domestic violence before. I have been asked to do it again. And in the headlines and things like that, I've seen, Krishan with the domestic violence situation with her and Blueface, and then with LaTruth, Mrs. LaTruth, and LaTruth having their issues recently, and just the importance of, being aware of what domestic violence really is. The characteristics of an abuser and a victim, things like that. We're going to go into depth about all that. I'm going to make sure that I touch a lot of things, studies, things like that. I don't know why we like to brush this information and this problem under the rug as a community, but this is something that we definitely brush under the rug. We don't like to talk about. And me being a survivor of domestic violence, is definitely really important for me to speak out on it and to continuously be a voice for it for women that might not even know that they're in domestic violence situations, or just might not have an outlet on what to do if you're faced with being in a domestic violence situation. A lot of people are dependent on it because of financial situations, marriage, just having things together and stuff like that. So this is something that I wanted to do so that I can have an open dialogue with other people about this. So I did do it on StreamYard, or I am doing it on StreamYard. So that way, if someone wants to come in, talk about it later, whatever the case may be, then you can click the link, and I'm going to share the link in the comment section. But first, I'm going to play some music just to kind of allow people to get in. I'm not gonna wait too long though to let people get in, but I know people be like, oh, I'm missing it, I didn't know you were going live. I'm always getting shadow banned everywhere I go. So let me get Nick, can you bring my Bluetooth speaker, please? I forgot that. I have my husband get my speaker for me. I don't know why the camera keeps on blurring. It's weird. But anyway, if you want to jump on, give your experiences, tell your story, things like that. I will open up the stream for you to be able to do that. I'm going to start playing some music, let some people get in. I'll give it like 5 minutes and then I'll start. What do y'all say about, y'all know who one of my favorite artists are? King Breezy. Because I know I know they won't cut it off if I play King Breezy, so.
It's not normal, never has been, never will be this way of life that exists living in 3D. The hurt, pain, insecurities, and the envy, the genocide, great divided life killings, the broken hearts, broken dreams leading to poverty. Our ancestors getting sold and called property. The whole world hijacked and drained consciously. It's in the known, you gotta open up your eye to see. Babies getting killed, starved, touched, and beat. And speak about it in your Bible, open Psalms and read. It's all mental programming from our pain they feed. All lives are free, listen up closely. Check it, we are not our race, we ain't even our age. They lied to us and they kept our truth hidden away. Illusion steady falling away. I stand firm in my faith to this world I say. Listen, no time for oppositions, no time for interference. It's time to come together, grow and accomplish the mission. Put away the division, move with better intentions. My soul chose to come to earth, I was birthed with a vision. Rise up, raise the vibe, it's time to wise up. The matrix got it glitching, that negative, know they time up. Never again will they divide us. Like Mother Earth, we gon' rise up. Everything in history, been tampered with, rewrote and hidden like a mystery. The truth is in our face and they don't hide it, that's what's sent to me. But wanna call us devils if we anything but Christianly. Even your own folks throw that word on you viciously and damn you straight to hell. Want you sitting in a jail, no parole, no bail. But play that shit off like they want you to prevail, especially when that money going up and records start to sell. I done run up on the past, I done rolled through all the faces. Conscious rappers got his greatest and sell outs to payments to keep us in enslavement, vibration of containment. Cause if we knew our power, we could shift the world and change it. So I'm stomping on this pavement. We're 10 toes down, coming in, making arrangements. When I touch down, elevated and awakened till it's mission accomplished. Finna take it way back to when rap had a conscience. No time for oppositions, no time for interference. It's time to come together, grow and accomplish the mission. Put away the division, move with better intentions. My soul chose to come to earth, I was birthed with a vision. Rise up, raise the vibe, it's time to wise up. The matrix started glitching, that negative, know they time up. Never again will they divide us. Like Mother Earth, we gon' rise up. There's a war on our children, and there's a war on our women. There's a war on spirituality, just like the wars of religion. There's a war on the masculine, and there's a war on the planet. And you can choose to stay asleep, but on 2 feet I'm standing. No time for oppositions, no time for interference. It's time to come together, grow and accomplish the mission. Put away the division, move for better intentions. My soul chose to come to earth, I was birthed with a vision. Rise up, raise the vibe, it's time to wise up. The matrix got it glitching, that negative, know they time up. Never again will they divide us. Like Mother Earth, we gon' rise up, crazy.
All right, y'all, let's get into it. So if you missed some of the beginning of the intro or what I was saying as far as this segment is about domestic violence. This is really a touchy area and situation. If you all remember when young Pharaoh was doing the things he was doing to Golden Beauty, we became close based off of me just being able to discern and also watch his movements. Halito to everybody. Halito, King Breezy. Use the link, Bree, if you want to get on. I don't know if you're familiar with domestic violence, but that's what the subject is. But you know, I really felt for her because I've been through it myself. Like I said, I've done video prior to this showing, telling how I was shot years ago in a domestic violence situation with my son's father and things like that. But prior to that, I have been in a domestic violence relationship. I was married to, prior to my marriage now, years ago, I was 17, and he was very abusive. So I've experienced this. I've also learned from it. I've also gotten the counseling, and I've done the interceding, the shadow work behind all of this. So it's like, at this point, I just want to be a help to other young women and men if you're out there being abused. And I want to be able to utilize this platform to touch on that. And you just said I was in a relationship, still embarrassed to speak about it. It is very hard to speak about domestic violence. The reason why is because people are always so judgmental about people that they feel like we allowed this to happen to ourselves. Like, oh, you should have just left because you didn't leave. That's why that happened to you. It's like, no, that's not why that happened to me. It's always a build up to that situation. It's not like somebody just comes straight out and just decide they're just going to beat up on you. You know what I mean? That's not how it works. I'll give you an example. I'll utilize myself. I'll utilize my own story, that's why I have this platform. I was 17, as I stated with you guys before, when my first marriage. My mom was very adamant that was something that we should do because we were sleeping together. He was my first. I was a virgin when I met him. He was my first real serious boyfriend, my first everything. And I was in a church at the time, and she's just like, well, you can't be living in adultery and all of this. You need to get married, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't want to marry this guy. I knew I was like, I felt like I was in love with him, but I was too young to really understand what love was. So, but I'm listening to my mom. That's my mom. And also I'm all indoctrinated in church. So it was just like, oh, the Bible does say that this is adultery. You're committing adultery and all this other stuff. So, and it's a sin. So, I got pregnant eventually at 17. And then that's when she was just like, you all need to get married. So you're not bringing in a child into an adulterous situation. So, I got married, and, it seemed like he was abusing me before I got married. So let me tell you how to start it. So that was like my boyfriend. It was my first boyfriend. I was younger than he was. I was 3 years younger than him. So he was 19 at the time. He was in college, and he had a lot of girls that liked him because he was a track star, right? So, and I'm just like this little ninth grader. I was a ninth grader when I met him, and I had a college boyfriend. So, everybody's like, oh, that's the cool thing. It was like so called the cool thing, but I was still a virgin. So the abuse didn't start until, well, I would say the abuse started mentally before then, because he was making me seem like, oh, because I wasn't sleeping with him, that he shouldn't really be with me. Like he should have been broke up with me because I wasn't sleeping with him. But again, I was a Christian. I was like, no, I'm holding on to my virginity until I'm married. I was like one of those chicks. And anyway, it built up more after we got married. After I took on his last name, I remember the first, before that. Before I was pregnant, I was watching his daughter all the time. I used to babysit his daughter. Some girls was calling the house. His mom was gone. He was gone. I was answering the phone. The girls were like, yeah, may I speak to such and such? I'm not going to say his name. But may I speak to such and such? And I'm just like, he's not here. And they're like, well, tell him such and such. Kim called. Tell him Shelly called. Tell him. It was like so many girls, right? And I'm there watching his 3-year-old daughter. His mom is gambling at a casino, and he's God knows where, probably sleeping with somebody else or whatever. But anyway, like he came in the house. I remember this one particular time, the first time he put his hands on me, he came in the house, and I was just like, who is like Kim and, whatever the other girls' names were. And he was just like, what? I'm like, who are they? And he literally like, none of your fucking business, da, 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 da. And he picks me, like he grabs me and throws me against this, like, it was like a closet. It was like a metal closet that you close to the laundry room. And so my knee got cut from the edge of it because it was metal. And I was crying and all of that. And I didn't know like what to do. I was crying, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like my knee is cut. It was bleeding and stuff. And he just didn't seem to care. Like he walked off. Like the air, like first I couldn't even breathe because he knocked the air out of me. That's how hard he body slammed me down. And I couldn't even breathe. When I finally was able to catch breath, that's when I was crying. I looked down, I seen my knee was bleeding. Keep in mind, I'm 16 years old. This is my first boyfriend. So I just go in the other room. His mom had other bedrooms in their home, and I just went in the other room and was crying in the corner. His mom comes home from gambling, and she's like, where's Drea? And he didn't say anything. He was playing his game. And she came in the other room and saw me in the corner just bawling my eyes out. And she's like, what's wrong? And I told her what was wrong, but she didn't do anything. She just told him, why'd you put your hands on that girl? That's all she said, for real. Like she didn't say anything else about it. She was just like, come on, get up. Do you want something to eat? Like kind of brushed over it. When I was growing up, my biological father used to put his hands on my mom. Like I grew up to him putting his hands on my mom. So I always said that I was never going to be with a man that did that. But that was like my first introduction to a man that would be physically violent to me. You don't want to tell anybody, especially when you told the mom and the mom is just acting like it's nothing. You know what I mean? And you're young, and this is an older woman acting like it's nothing. So you don't want to talk about it with other people. I definitely didn't want to tell my mom because me and my mom were at odds at the time. So I definitely didn't want to tell her. And I just like literally kept it inside. And that wasn't where it stopped. It just kept going. It got worse and worse and worse. It got really bad. And it doesn't get better. When someone is strong enough to, especially a man or a woman, strong enough to raise their hand at you and put their hands on you in a violent way, that should tell you right there how much they care about you. But I didn't look at it like that. I was just like, because all he had to do was like later on, like come to me and be like, oh, okay, it's okay, blah, blah, blah. You know, I didn't mean to do that, but you just made me mad. Why'd you ask me about other girls? I'm not dealing with other girls. You're here with me. Why would I have you here with me and you have other girls? So as a young woman, I'm like thinking about it. So now this is the psychological abuse. That's the mental abuse. So now I'm thinking about, I'm like, yeah, he may be right. Maybe I was wrong for confronting him about other women calling him. He's like, yeah, they're calling me because they're helping me with my homework. Like he had a whole excuse, you know what I'm saying? And I accepted it. And that's the cycle of abuse. There is a cycle of abuse, and like it's known. Like people, I went to counseling based off of all of the abusive situations I've been through for the many years that I was in them. And there is a will of abuse. And I'm going to read you all what the will of abuse is. It's a domestic violence abuse. And let me pull this up really quick. It's crazy because it's like that just goes to show how many people have actually done this to other people. You know what I mean? For abuse, to the point that they were able to create a will, create the scenarios and the buildup of all of this. So in the will of domestic violence, there is so there's a power and the control in the middle, right? So first is intimidation. That's the first thing. And here is so crazy how they have it here, but that's in red. Like how they have it like set up like the chakras. Like I'm gonna try to show y'all. You can Google this yourself. Oh, yeah, probably can't see. But anyway, they have it set up. I haven't learned how to share my screen on this so far, so I'll have to learn that and be able to share it with you all. But first one is like intimidation, and that's in red. So intimidation would be like they don't put their hands on you, but they threaten you. Or they don't put their hands on you, but they like try to scare you, if that makes sense. That's the intimidation part of things. So that can seem really innocent at first, but it's really not. Like that's really not okay. Why? Because it just builds up a way for them to see how that works. Like they're like, okay, if they accepted it this time, cool. It's not like they really, I don't feel like abuse people really, I don't know, because I've never been an abuser, but this is my thought process, knowing the men that I know and how it became abusive for how they became abusive. What I would say is they don't intentionally try to do it, but they were either brought up underneath it, they saw it happening, and a lot of them have self-esteem issues. Like anytime a man put his hands on you, he has self-esteem issues. Yes, it's a true thing where men can be jealous of women. We know this. That's how they took over the women anyway, when we brought them in to this world. But anyway, emotional abuse, that's the next one. That's in orange. And emotional abuse will be like how they call you out your name, or they basically say, oh, that doesn't look right on you. You know, you can go up to them, be excited about something you have on. They don't say it looks nice on you, or they don't say anything at all. They know you got dressed up for them. They don't say nothing at all. They just be like quiet, just won't say nothing. Or they can just be like, oh, you look fat in that, or that looks stupid on you. Like that's the emotional abuse. Or say you're going to school and you're like excited about a test and you tell them about it. They're like, oh, about time you pass a test. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that kind of thing. It can seem like it's like passive aggressive, but it's like building up to something. So those are the things you got to watch in a relationship. The next one is isolation. isolation, people feel like is not abuse. It is abuse, very much so. If someone is in a relationship with you and they just basically ignore you, or just like kind of like don't show you attention, or they're just like passive about things that you say to them, that's isolation. That means that they're removing themselves from you, and they'll deal with you when they feel like dealing with you, but not when it's convenient for both of you to come together. Like they won't make an effort to be around you unless it's convenient for them, but it may not be convenient for them. Like in a relationship, it's a give and take thing, and I may not always want to be around you in your presence either, but you may need me. So when you come around me, it's like I can't just cut that communication or that energy off from you. I have to be willing to be involved as well, because you may need me. So that's the isolation. Also, a lot of narcissists do this. They'll create a problem, and then they'll make it to where it's your problem, and then they'll isolate themselves as if you're the one that caused the problem, to the point you start questioning yourself, like, damn, did I do something wrong? The reason why he's treating me like I have the plague, you know? So that's isolation. And I'm not laughing about it. It's like, I'm just like, talking about it really upsets me. Minimize, deny, or blame. Like they'll try to minimize, deny, or blame. That's like saying, okay, again, when I just mentioned narcissism, which is very big in men or women that's abusive, they'll try to minimize it, like, oh, that wasn't that big of a deal, or you shouldn't have tripped off of that, or you tripping for no reason, or whatever the case may be. And I'm talking about, this is the buildup though, y'all. I don't want y'all to feel like, sometimes people say that wasn't a big deal, but then you have to explain to them, like, yes, that was a big deal to me. And if they own up to it, are willing to listen to you and say, hey, I didn't know that made you feel that way. I apologize. Let's work towards me not making you feel that way no more. That is healthy. But when they're doing this and they have all these other things that I've named, no, they're abusive. They're leading up to something. They're leading up to something. They're denying. They don't like to take accountability. They are denying it, all that stuff for a reason, because that's just what they do. Using children. If you all have children together, my dad used this all the time. My biological father was very abusive to my mom. He used this all the time when we were children. I remember this from my childhood, how he would just be like, I want to see my kids. I want to see he didn't care about beating her in front of us though. He didn't care about beating her so bad that he woke us up out of our sleep from dragging her down the hallway, beating her in her head, dragging her by her hair, kicking her. He didn't care about her, screaming from him, beating her with a belt or tying her up, none of that, or raping her. He didn't care about any of his children. He didn't care about his 2 daughters in the other room, possibly being upset by that. But now when she left him and decided to separate herself and go to her mom's place and not be nowhere around him, now he cares. Now it's a problem. Oh, my children, you can't keep my children from me. I need my children. My children need me. Like that type of stuff. They do that too. They use their children. A lot of these domestic violence shelters, these women have children, and either the husband was the breadwinner or something like that, and they had ran away from the husband so many times and took him back because they would stay with family members, and nobody's ever comfortable being with family members and needing to lean on family members and bring your children and your baggage there. A lot of these men, they will cause disruption at these people's families' houses, to where the family eventually be like, well, we can't have that here, or we, blah, 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 or they'll threaten the family or threaten to burn the place down. Like it gets that drastic. But yeah, they'll use the children a lot of the time. They'll use finances, things like that. What else? Basically, this one says male hearing privilege. So basically, like, no, he's not here. So what'll happen is, a lot of times abusers will intimidate the woman and beat the woman so bad, or put her in such a mental state that it's like Stockholm syndrome. I was talking about it with my friend earlier. Stockholm syndrome is like, so a lot of people that get kidnapped, a lot of people that have been kidnapped as a child and raised by their kidnapper and things like that. Eventually the kidnapper doesn't need to suppress them, restrain them, anything like that, because they've gotten them so separated from reality. They have made it to where nobody cares that you're missing. Nobody's even asking about you. Nobody cares about what you're going through. Like, you're on your own, and like, this is your only way of survival. So in these relationships, men will do that too. Like, oh, nobody's listening to you no more. Like, you said you were going to leave so many times. You're here with me now. So when situations go down, the woman will protect the man. Even though the man is the abusive one, the woman will go in and they will protect the man. If the police come, they will lie for the man. They will, hide him, things like that. It's like a psychological mindfuck, if you want to say that. Economic abuse. Economic abuse is the financial abuse, the living situation. You, your husband, your baby's father, y'all got a place together, both y'all names on the lease. Y'all have, things together. You have furniture together. You have cars together. Everything's in both of y'all names, stuff like that. A lot of times, or like you lost your job, you don't have a job, but your husband has the majority of the money, or your boyfriend has the majority of the money that takes care of most of the bills. They will take that, throw that in your face and be like, oh, you'll think about it and be like, damn, how am I going to be able to take care of me and my children? How am I going to be able to survive? Like, I live here. Like, I'm not going to leave my things. I'm not going to leave my place. I'm not going to leave my stability. Those type of things. So that is also abuse, because a real man that knows that it's not working, and if it's healthy, a healthy relationship, but yet the relationship isn't working, then what they will do is they'll be like, okay, well, I know that you don't have this or whatever. Let's make sure that you're stable, or let me leave. Let me tell you what a real man do. A real man will leave. If you got majority of the finances, then you're going to leave, and you're going to make sure she and her children stay in the house, and then you're going to leave and take your ass somewhere else. But that's a whole nother story. Now I got my power back. This is how I speak. But back then, when you're in that situation and you don't have the power in your hands, then you will think that way. Like, man, I can't leave because this is the stability for me and my children. So that's the economic abuse. I want to talk about this is my opinion on everything about what the violence will is, but we're going to talk about the first one on the will: coercion and threats. This is a type of authoritative behavior where the batterer tries to control the victim through threats. So the abuser may force the victim to do something and threaten if ignored. Some people make threats of physical assault to get something from you or to make you do something. It may involve forceful sex as well. They may even ask you for money, and if you reject it, then they'll warn you of consequences, like that they'll hit you, or that they'll, burn your house down, or that they'll make you lose your job, all types of stuff. Intimidation. Oh yeah, we're not talking about the next level of domestic violence. When they're not stopped at the first step, they may resort to intimidation tactics, and this can go well beyond threats. They may actually do harm to you. Most of the times that proceeds to a warning or threat. Here, they try to make you afraid through their looks, their words, or their actions. And when they sense that you're not scared enough, they may go to the extra mile. Things like damaging your property, hurting your pets, or displaying weapons are very normal for them. Yeah, they don't feel any remorse either. It's funny that I just read that, because that's what happened in the relationship with my son's father. He had pulled a gun on me a couple times before he actually pulled the trigger. That happens. It's not a threat. Listen, it's literally a promise. Don't take threats lightly. Never take threats lightly. When people are able to put themselves in a situation to threaten you, It's probably because they will do it, but it's like them trying to give you a warning. And a lot of times we feel like, oh, well, he didn't do it or she didn't do it. That don't mean that they won't do it. And that don't mean that they haven't done it. So yeah, they will go and act out. If you've never experienced such behavior, report this incident as soon as possible. Take the help of the police. If you don't do so, you may end up with a few bruises or broken bones or even worse. I could have been dead. I should have took the first sign of him putting a gun to my head years before he actually shot me. I should have took that, but I didn't. I was like, well, he didn't pull the trigger. We always make excuses. As the abused, we tend to take on the characteristics of making excuses for the abuser. I'm going to show you guys an example of some really popular people right now that's going through that. And I see that through their relationship. Emotional abuse. This might not sound like a serious issue, but it is. Actually, this might affect the victim worse than the physical abuse, because you can get your injuries treated easily, but a broken soul is very hard to restore. And that's what exactly we're talking here. The offenders attack their victims psychologically. They try to bring you down with their words or actions. They use cheap tactics such as calling you names, insulting you publicly, or any other similar action. They will also make you feel guilty, even if you haven't committed any mistake. Talk about super manipulators. People with childhood trauma are highly prone to this form of abuse because they've already experienced some horrible things in their past. These people are great at mind games. They fool you and you don't even realize it. They're such energy drainers. Also, this form of violence has long-term effects on the victim, and it's also quite difficult to recover from such trauma. So act before it gets too late. That's the emotional abuse. That's the psychological abuse. That's the mind fuck. That's when they get in your head and you feel like because they didn't put their hands on you, it's okay. Emotional abuse is worse than physical abuse. I'm gonna tell y'all that now. I've been abused in every single way you can think of, and emotional abuse is the worst because it's so sneaky and it sneaks up on you and you start making excuses for it, but you're not understanding that it's making you question who you really are, and what you're actually experiencing is what you're experiencing. I'm gonna show y'all some examples of some very popular people that's going through that. Stick with me. Isolation. What happens when someone gets too possessive? Well, they go crazy and make others suffer. That's exactly what we have here. Some guys want full control over their partners. They want to know the places she goes to, people she meets, and the things she does. And then they will try to isolate you from those things. They will stop you from meeting your friends and family. They may even stop you from going to your favorite coffee shop. They may also resort to stalking to see how you're doing and whom you're meeting. Pretty annoying, right? Well, it gets worse. If you don't act in time, they may go even crazier. If they feel that you're doing something that they dislike, they might want to hurt you. That leads to a physical assault. We don't want that to happen, do we? So to avoid that, take action as soon as you see some signs. They're everywhere. Just because you love someone, it doesn't mean that you have to obey their orders. Tell them you're independent and you will lead your life the way that you like to. If you accept their demands, they will make more. Remember that. So, example. That's crazy. Example, I had a guy that I dated. We were dating for 4 years, but it was literally I caught him cheating on me. I caught him walking in the same restaurant I was in with a chick when he was supposed to be in a studio. And he walked right past me at my friend's table as if he didn't even see me. It's crazy. But anyway, I'm not going to go into the whole story. But I caught him cheating, okay? Literally, after that, he somehow tapped my phone. I had no idea this man tapped my phone. I had ended up just breaking one of my phones. He ended up getting me a new phone, and he was following all of my text messages, where I was going, my location, things like that. He got it so wrong one time that I gave one of my guy friends a ride. And I hated the fact he used to ask me everywhere I was going, why I was there, who I was with, all this stuff. So this particular day, I was like, I'm a grown ass woman. I don't got to tell this man nothing I'm doing. Like, and it was literally just that. And it just happened this particular day. I took my friend all the way out in the county. I lived in St. Louis at the time. I took him out to North County to his niece's birthday party. He was just a friend of mine. And I was friends with his family. And he calls me while I'm out there, and he's like at work. He's like, "Where are you at?" or whatever. I'm like, I forgot where I told him, but it wasn't where I was because it was none of his business. I'm a grown ass woman. You're not about to track me on shit. Like I had already been through abusive stuff in the past. My ex-husband, I wasn't about to do that again. And with my son's father, so I wasn't about to do that again. So I didn't tell him where I was. Well, come to find out, he knew where I was because he tracked my phone. He had a tracker on my phone. So when my friend was coming to my car because I was leaving where I was, at, and he had been calling me the whole time. But anyway, I was leaving where I was, and I go to my car so that I can open it up so he can get his computer and stuff that was in my car. And as we're walking to the car, his family, his sister, everybody, we all walk into the parking lot. This dude pulls up. He's sitting in the parking lot, pulls up, rolls his windows down because his windows was tinted, and was like, "Yeah, I see you, da 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 da. I see you cheating on me," and pulls off. So the family looking like, "What the heck was that about?" Like it was so embarrassing, y'all. Like, so when the woman just stated earlier on the live stream that it's embarrassing to speak about, it is embarrassing. It was very embarrassing. It was embarrassing. And at that moment, I was like, I don't even want to be with him no more. And I ended up staying with him. This is how much I have been in abuse to the point that because he didn't put his hands on me, I feel like that was an abuse. But that's stalking. That is not okay, y'all. My son's father, people would tell me, we seen him looking at your place from the tree across the street. Like I've had stalking is not okay either. Just because they're not putting their hands on you, that's not okay. That's some crazy, and people can really turn crazy from that. So don't take that either. Denying, blaming, and minimizing. Some horrible guys out there or women don't even feel any guilt. They have no remorse and they don't feel bad for their wrongdoings. Oh, that was you. If you hadn't behaved that way, we wouldn't have this quarrel. Or why are you bad mouthing about me when I didn't even do anything? Or that's just a bruise. It'll wear off. Now go make some coffee. Sounds familiar? Well, that's how they behave. Some batterers straight up deny that they even hurt you. Some may make light of their terrible behavior, and some even blame you for the awful acts. These are cold-blooded people who don't feel any sort of empathy. You can go further and even call them psychopaths. When you encounter such type of behavior, run away as far as possible from them. Don't hope that they're going to change. That will never happen. But before ending things with them, don't forget to report these incidents to the authority. The next one that I spoke about, which was using the children. These are some of the worst kind of people out there. What kind of people take advantage of the kids and use them to get things done? My biological father. Well, there are people that do this. These abusers use children to hurt you, and that hurt may come in different forms. Usually they make you feel guilty for your children's situation, whatever trouble they're having, like blaming you when your kids get poor grades. When they stop talking to you, they will use your kids to relay messages to you. It may sound not that bad, but think about this. Your kids go through extreme trauma. When they sense that things are bad between you and your partner, they even get worried. Few people even use the visitation to harass the victim. I've been the child in that situation. And it's quite difficult to avoid since visitations are their right. But you can stop that by reporting it to the police. Don't be quiet. Economic abuse. This is a highly prevalent abuse. Many women suffer from this type of domestic violence, especially the married ones. Here, the abuser might resort to preventing their partner from going to a job. I spoke about that. I'm reading to y'all what is actually the professional way to say things, but in the beginning, I was telling you my own experiences and things that I know this to be. So, they may also ask you money and abuse you when you reject their request. They might also take money from you and then harass you by not returning the amount. Some people even hide or remove access to family income. This can cause a severe financial impact on the victim. This domestic violence can also take a heavy toll on your career. Everyone has the right to make a living. Never allow someone to your employment right from you. Gender privilege. Here, the batterers are mostly men. However, there is a small section of women who commit this crime. The abuser mistreats their partner just because they're born into a different gender. Very unfair, right? But they still do it anyway. They might treat their victim like a maid or a servant. I've been treated like that. Yes. Some terrible guys even like I was in a situation for years where he would demand that I cook for him, make him food, and then when I would do it, he would literally take the plate and set it on the floor with all his trash and like just set it off to the side, like not even putting it together, like just sitting off like I'm just like his maid. Like I went through that. If I have some moderators in here, can you please block these people that are making these weird bot ass comments? But anyway, some terrible guys go as far as to make their partner a slave. And they also try to form gender roles, like ordering you to do something because you're a woman. Yep, had that happen. And rewarding themselves with special privileges because of their gender. Basically, they treat their victim as low-lifers. They love humiliating others. Oh my God, like this is crazy. How are... Sorry, y'all. There is a guy that came in here like literally being disrespectful. Like I can't even believe they allow that to happen. Anyway, if you ever face this issue, don't even wait a minute. Get out there and file a complaint. These people deserve severe punishment, rightly so. So we have to break we have to break this this cycle. And it's not talked about. We have a lot of especially now at the time where, you know, the goddesses and we're rising, right? This is the time for us to get back on our throne. This is the time for us to sit on our throne. We're going to have a lot of men that's disgruntled, upset, bothered, all of that stuff. We already was having it done, but it's going to happen again. Now, I'm not saying this doesn't happen to men, so please don't come on here and be like, oh, well, you're being like one-sided. I'm not. I never once said that this is just men do this. Women do this too, but I'm talking to the women because I'm a woman and this has happened to me. And it's happened to me many times for many years. And I'm saying that now that I know who I am, I also see that these men are more and more trashing us, more and more belittling us. Now there's this whole wave for women that don't know themselves to be half naked and only show their bodies as if that's the only thing that we have to offer. And it's not. So it's my position and my place to be able to show these goddesses, these women, how you are powerful and how you can take your power back and how you don't give your power away and how you don't allow people to abuse you, men to abuse you and make you feel like you're nothing. And that the only thing you have to offer is to have babies and cook and clean and cater to them like you're their fucking mates. That's not what we're here for. We created them to be our helpmates, not the opposite. We didn't come from their ribs, and that's bullshit. Bottom line, and step into your power. But I'm going to get back to the moment at hand. This King Breezy, I'm going to read what she said. I didn't know my last relationship was spiritually and mentally abusive relationship until going through this situation I am in now. It's wild. We had to flee our city because my wife's ex threatened us. That's what I'm saying. Like, this doesn't have nothing to do with sex. This can happen in any relationship, whether it's woman on woman, man on man, man on woman, woman on man. However, this is very serious, y'all. People have died. Lots of people have died from this situation. I'm going to go in because I want to be able to, I wish I knew how to share my screen. Oh, I do know how to share my screen. Okay, let's see if we can do this, y'all. I don't want to. Hold up. I'm going to have to. It says it's better if I do it with 2 monitors. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just play this. I don't know if you guys know LaTruth. I don't know if you all know Mrs. LaTruth. But recently there was a very viral situation that happened with Mrs. LaTruth, who they both are influencers. They both do like spoof videos. Well, she helps him do spoof videos. I think she started doing spoof videos herself. However, he recently put his hands on her, or not put his hands on her, but he used a tote to hit her, a heavy tote to hit her. When she was blocking it, it broke her finger. Either which way, he shouldn't have never been trying to throw nothing at her, period. So at the end of the day, I'm going to bring up what happened with them. After what I just read with you guys, you can now discern for yourself. Also, you have the tools to know, to be able to recognize domestic violence. Now, here is the first incident that happened.
This is sad LaTruth, but he's...
Hold on. Now I'm going to bring it all the way up to where they are now, but I'm going to give you guys the backstory on this situation. From what I said, they had gotten into it. People thought that this was a spoof, but it wasn't a spoof. It was actually him putting his hands on his, well, abusing his wife. Apparently he emotionally abused her and things like that. If you guys don't know this couple, this video went viral. Hold on. I hope y'all can see this because I'm just... See if y'all can see it. Probably can't see it. I gotta learn how to share my screen. Hold on. Let me see if I can share my screen on here. But anyway, she was twerking in front of him, whatever. You know how every twerking goes viral. He was sitting in a chair. First off, I would never do this with my husband. I wouldn't even let my husband use me like that. That's a whole nother story. That's my opinion. He was sitting in a chair. She was in front of him twerking, but the camera was to the back where you see her ass like bouncing, whatever. That went viral, and then they got viral from there. He was already viral by supposedly being LaTruth and all this stuff. He is also brothers with what's Kevin's name? Kevin. I don't know. He blocked me. He's Kevin the Truth, Evolutionary the Truth, or whatever. Kevin Wesley, the one with the polygamous relationship and all that shit, which I think is a whole nother mess. But anyway, that's his brother. So they got into it, and she actually, I guess, got tired at one point because she had said that she's been emotionally abused a lot in the relationship, pretty much from the 6th year of their marriage. And she just got tired of covering for him, lying for him, their children, experiencing, trying to save her and all that stuff from the abuse that she was going through, allegedly verbally. And then it ended up being something physical to where her finger was broken because he tried to take a tote, or he did take a tote and was hitting her or whatever. And she was trying to block the tote, finger broke. Okay. So I'm going to let her tell the story so you can hear her side. And then here we go.
Here are the facts. Lombardo said he'd sign a new abortion ban, and he supports letting states ban abortion with no exceptions.
Let's put on my Bluetooth so y'all can hear this.
Stop, Joe Lombardo.
Dance. I'm trying to save a girl's life.
Through dance.
Please, Tewksbury.
So this is her telling her story.
Garage open.
Hey, to, let this go and be as nice as I could, very nice as I could, and just, say I wish you the best and all that, but fuck it. Because at this point, he pushing me there because he want to keep putting these lies out and make it seem like he been this perfect fucking man. First of all, let me tell you something. You can park right there. Let me tell you something. The image that y'all been seeing on social media is not him at all. At all. Let me put that around. At all. Him portraying like he been his best father to my kids, lies. I've been keeping up this fucking front. Y'all know it. Y'all been seeing me. Oh, she pretending to be happy. She don't really smile like that. Yeah. I've been really trying to stick this shit out with this nigga thinking shit don't work. I did counseling. I paid for session after session after session after session after session. Individually counseling for him. It didn't work. It didn't work. Our counselor even said, I can no longer work with him. One, because of the abuse, and two, because he needs psychological help. So let's make that clear. Okay? I've been covering shit up for a long time, and quite frankly, I hate when a person lie. I really hate when a person lie. And then all these family members coming out like, oh yeah, I never known my brother or such and such to be like this or act like this. Of course you don't. You know why? Because you ain't fucking him. You know why? Because you ain't in a relationship with him. You know why? Because you ain't married to him. You know why? Because you're not living with this man. I lived with him for 6 years. So I know him. So let me break it down what happened on October 14th. The day I'm going to always remember for the rest of my life. On October 14th, I had just got home and I was on the phone with my niece. I just got in the house. I got off the phone. Here's my husband. Oh, so you're not going to give me no love and affection. You're not going to give me no love and affection. You're not going to give me no love and affection. And for my husband, because he lost his mom at 5 years old, he expects me to be this mother to him, his father to him, because his father won't shit, his grandma, because his grandma wasn't giving him the love. He wanted me to give him all this love on top of being a mother to my children. Oh, I see the way you raise your kids, and I love the way you love on your kids. So, but I want that same love. I want that same attention. I want that same affection. I can't give you that. I can't give you all of that. I'm sorry that your mom passed away at 5 years old, but I cannot give you a mother's love. I cannot give you a mother's affection. A mother's love and a wife's love is two different things. Now, on October 14th, let me continue my story. He continued to go on about this love and affection. So I left the room doing my hair, and he's like, oh, so you want to get cute instead of standing at the house. As you guys can see in the video, it's bags there because we just moved there. So I'm like, I'm not about to go ahead and finish packing stuff because there's so much stuff. This house is huge. I can wait. We can wait on that. It's not a dying thing. We can wait. So he like, oh, so you just gonna be lazy. So first you go from affection and attention to now I'm being lazy because I just dropped the kids off and I don't feel like I'm packing anything, right? Okay, cool. Noted. I walk out. I'm not the person that's gonna go back and forth with you. I do not like that. I like walking away and you just keep poking the bear. This is what he's doing before I started. So let me go. So I'm going into the room. I'm quiet. I'm watching Love and Marriage Huntsville, right? So Martell and Melody is on there. Shout out to Melody. Martell is on there, and he come out the bathroom, and he like, Martell, I see why you went outside. I'm gonna have to go outside too. So I'm like, you had to go outside? What you mean you had to go outside? He like, yeah, I see why he did what he did. That's my boy, Martell. That's my boy. Okay. First of all, Martell never even addressed you or talked to you. And he like, oh, but Melody do. Melody be all in my DMs talking about stay up, king. Stay healthy, do what you need to do. I'm like, Melody be in your DM telling you that. So I grabbed his phone because his phone is on the bed. I grabbed his phone. I'm going through his Instagram messages. And there's some girl named Precious on there. So I'm like, who is Precious? Because they clearly met at the mall. And this is the mall that he loved going to all the time. So I'm like, who is Precious? He snatches the phone out of my hand. Now, at this moment, you guys, I'm like, why are you snatching the phone out of my hand? Out of 4 years, I've had his password. Y'all done seen me on live say, I go through my husband's phone. That ain't nothing that's a secret. Y'all know this. So when you come outside of the room and you all gangster with it, like, yeah, I'm going to go outside with it. Oh, I see why you did what you did. I'm going to have to go outside too. Okay, now I'm like, let me get your phone so I can see what are you talking about? Let me get your phone. So I grabbed his phone, and then I'm looking through messages. So that's when I said, who is Precious? He snatched the phone from me. Now, I'm like, why are you snatching the phone from me? I grab his laptop next. I'm trying to enter the password, trying to guess passwords, and he snatches the computer out of my hand. So he has 2 computers and 2 phones. So I'm like, okay, he put his phone in his pocket. Now I'm trying to get the phone out of his pants pocket. I'm trying to get the phone. We in a tussle. I'm trying to get the phone out of his pocket, right? Okay, so after that, we in like a WWE rap move. I don't even know what to call it, but we on the couch, and he got me so tight. So I'm like pushing his head like this to get off of me. So I'm like, okay, cool. So he finally get up. I grab my pepper spray. And so I went over there and I grabbed the computer. Okay. So I sprayed the pepper spray because now you're still trying to attack me. I'm spraying the pepper spray, not even on him. I'm spraying it on the pillow because now he's trying to swing pillows and hit me with the pillows and push me down on the couch. And I'm like, okay. So I grab this dead computer off the bed. I go to the closet. He picks up this big ass tote. I don't know how long it is, but it's about wide as my car. It's big and long and it's gray. And he picks it up and he like, put my fucking computer down now. So I put the computer down and I sit down. Indian style now with my legs crossed. I sit down, I said the computer is down. Next thing I know, he takes this big ass tote and put it on top of me. Boom, slams it right on top of my head with pressure. Boom. And so the first time he raised it back up, I'm trying to get up. I'm trying to get up off the floor, but I'm moving too slow because he's still hitting me. He hit me the second time and I did like this. This is why my hand got hit. So I did like this to protect my head. He hit me again. Boom. I'm screaming, calling for my dad at this point. Dad, help me, please. Dad, help me. Call 911. Please call. Dad, please come help me. So when I got up out of that closet, I went and I grabbed my phone. I called 911.
Okay, so it starts blocking out at that part. That is her account of what actually happened. A lot of people were kind of downplaying it, like, oh, it was just a tote and he was just hitting you with the tote. I don't agree with the fact that she pulled out the pepper spray and wanted to fight with him over his phone and laptop, because for what? Like, you got all the information you need to get when he said what he said out his mouth. However, she's younger, and I've been there where I was younger and I just was going off of emotions. So I get how she probably did do that, but that was not okay for him to try to hit her with anything. I need y'all to understand that it's not okay. Abuse is not okay in any circumstance, any manner, like from anybody. Let's be correct about that. If you can't handle your emotions and things like that, and you feel like that the only thing you can do is put your hands on somebody, then you need to just not be in that relationship. If you feel like all you can do is intimidate somebody instead of saying what it is that you need to say as a grown person, then just walk away. That's the best thing to do. But it getting to the point where he is putting his taking his tote and beating her with it. Now I'm gonna let you guys hear. So she took a lie detector test. This is just one situation. I'm bring up many situations, and I'm gonna commentate on it, but I want y'all to stick with me because it's going somewhere. So Kevin Wesley, a lot of you guys know him. He's the one that's really viral about having the polygamous relationships. She went live. She gave her account of, his family and him speaking against her, commentating off of her video where she spoke out about her abuse. This is another video that she did about the abuse. I'm not going to talk. I'm going to get to the point where she got really emotional and really got down to her feelings.
Because everybody in the comments like, where her hand at? That must be fake. That must be fake. Where her hand? I didn't show my hand because I was trying to cover up for him again. Again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Covering up for him. I just wish you the best. I love you. Wish nothing but the best for you. And y'all keep telling me I'm the wrong one. I'm the wrong one. But I tried to let this go. I tried to let it go peacefully. But this man kept harassing me every day. Him and his family. The first thing he should have did was tell his family to shut up. Shut up. You don't know nothing. You ain't in my marriage. Shut up. Shut up. But he not. He ain't telling them that. He want them to keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Thank you, Shanika, because you know how quiet I be.
Superbly quiet for years. It's certain times where I know y'all been into it and you like, sis, I'm just done. I'm just so hurt right now. And then you still turn around and you do a video with him, looking and pretending to be happy. But I know as soon as you done that video, you come in your room and you sit to yourself while he just and still doing what he do.
Mm-hmm.
His switch.
How many times have I left and we ain't got a hotel room?
We ain't got a hotel room.
Because he won't leave.
After he abused and then refused to leave.
How many times I called the police?
A million daggone times.
How many times did social services come to my house? Because y'all keep saying, leave the kids out of it, but my kids is going to school telling on this man. And I'm still protecting him. I'm still saying, this man didn't do nothing to me. I'm still saying that. I'm still saying that to protect him. My daughter went to school in fear for me. And social services came to my house. And I protected him again and again and again. How long do y'all want me to be quiet? How long?
How is it that his own daughter don't even want to be around him? And we ain't talking about the youngest, we talking about the oldest.
How long? How long? How long? Y'all keep saying, don't bring the kids into it. My kids was banging on that door trying to get to their mama.
Several times. This ain't the first time. This is
my kids done called my sister to come over here. My sister. So when y'all attacking me, trying to bring me the fuck down because I'm standing in my truth, this is why women don't say nothing. And this is why I won't go say nothing. And I got facts to back it up. If you go on YouTube, it's the same video that I tried to post on here, but it was only 1 minute. It was only 1 minute. And I tried to post it. I tried. And it only posted 1 minute. And I was being respectful. I didn't say nothing. I wanted to let that man go and just let him do him and be respectful out of our child. I didn't want to tear him down. I want him to reach success. That's been my every fight. Since how many times I done said I don't want to be a blame for why his career isn't moving. Even times he said social media want us apart. Social media don't want us together. Social media don't want us to win. They don't want us to win. So in order for my music career to work, in order for this acting career to work, we have to go our separate ways. And I say, okay, that's fine. I'll do it. 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 I've been said I would get a divorce. I've been said that. And he never came with no paperwork. Ever. I'm all right. I'm all right. Y'all go ahead. Go in your room. I'm good. I've been real quiet and I tried to bow down.
So this is what happens when a woman has been in an abusive relationship for a very long time and she is covered up, especially when it's something that's very public. A lot of times women and the man will convince the woman not to be public about it because the woman's worried about how people will think about her. The man is worried about his image, or vice versa. And a lot of times will convince the spouse to, hey, you might not want to do this. They get finances from that being in that viral relationship and things like that. They make money off of the videos they do together. So she feels guilt about, okay, this is how he makes his money. This is my husband. I don't want him to not be able to make money, but she obviously knows that it's unhealthy for her. However, she's willing to jeopardize her unhappiness and the unhealthiness for herself, for him, because she's been mentally programmed for a very long time and she's accepted so many other things. But what happened that time that she went viral, she was crying out for help. And he tried to later and say, oh, that was a spoof. We were doing a domestic violence spoof. I don't know who would make fun of domestic violence situations because they're not funny. Lots of people have lost their lives. Lots of people, I lost a finger damn near from domestic violence, from being shot and me trying to protect myself. Lots of people have lost children due to domestic violence. The spouse shot not only the wife, but the children too, and themselves. Like, domestic violence is nothing that you spoof about. So he tried to come later to protect his image and say, oh, we were doing a spoof. But she came out, and at this time she was in fight mode, fight or flight, and she showed her finger. It was broken. She had a splint on it, or a cast, whatever you call that, for her finger. And also took a lie detector test because people were blaming her and saying that it didn't really happen. You know, anyway, I'm gonna go forward because I'm gonna show y'all the cycle of how this happens. I was hoping that she stood. I was hoping that she stood her ground. In abuse, a lot of times
you get all the stuff off the bed.
In abuse, a lot of times we do. We get to the point where we step out and we want to tell our truth, and we want to be honest with everybody and cry out for help. But then we get to the time where the abuser, and with her having a child with the abuser, sometimes they call you continuously. They remember this, remember that, remember when things were good. We have a child together. People just want to break us up. Like she said in this, she told you that. These are things that happen that I'm going to read your stuff too, Chief. Give me 1 second. These are things that happen in relationships, and the man will just constantly call. She even says, I didn't play it in here, that he sent her $1,000. It's for you and the kids. Please, let's make this work. Blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. That happens a lot. So that's the honeymoon phase. That's also a cycle I'm going to read about, but it'll be the abuse, and then things will die down, and they'll bring the honeymoon phase back out. The honeymoon phase is where abuser really knows that they fucked up, but they need you to be back in their cipher. They're energy vampires at the end of the day. So they need you to be back in their cipher and be on their side and protect them and cover up the characteristics of who they really are. And they want you to keep going on with the cycle. So now they bring on the honeymoon phase. That is, like she said, brought money, bring flowers, be nice, wine and dine you, this and that, blah, blah, blah. That's the honeymoon phase. And so I was hoping that she stood her ground. She was saying that she was going to stand her ground, but I just ran across this video recently, and I'm really disappointed in it. I saw her post her daughter's birthday, which is not his daughter, but I guess he helped raise this daughter because they were married. She shouted him out for her daughter's birthday. That's not his daughter. That's how I know that she's really bought into the honeymoon phase part of things. But she did a live. She's not necessarily saying that she's getting back with him, but she kind of shied away from all of the stance that she was standing on. She's leaning on Christianity. Christianity, let me tell y'all something. I don't want to speak against nobody that's a Christian or nobody that believes in Christianity. I already told y'all what background I come from. But I will say this much. They will tell you to pray and get on your knees and pray for your husband and do this, and that, when you got all the signs to show you that this person is not for you. But I'm going to let you all listen to this, where she kind of, a lot of the speaking that she was saying was that the children were afraid of him. The children wanted her to leave him. The children went to school talking about how their mom is being abused because he was talking crazy to her all the time, and she was crying all the time, and he was leaving her all the time and being out in the streets, and the children know. So she said a lot of times the schools will call her. I'm not going to play all that, but you can go and do your own research and go follow her and go listen to the video. She said that. But now this is her speaking as of 4 days ago. And this is how you know this is the honeymoon phase. So he didn't convince her to yet try to cover up for him again. She ain't going to admit it, but this is the case. She gonna act like everything all good.
It's a what mean that it's in like so many people. Oh, you're not going over there because I don't like him. Oh, I can't stand you. Samara. She said, oh Lord, I want everything pink.
Okay, bro. I'll let you later.
So it's one in my room, one in the second room.
Let me find it out.
Two. Y'all got this filter on because I'm loving this Christmas feel. I got people coming out to do my Christmas lights. I'm excited. I'm ready for the Christmas lights. Your favorite color is pink? Yes. That's why I say I want everything pink. Everything. Everything, 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 everything. So, Hobby Lobby is a good place. What's another place? At home.
Let me find it where she talking. I hear all that.
I'm his child. So, I'm basically just following his path, and whatever he has for me will be for me. Whatever that means. I don't know what that means right now. I don't know what doors he's about to open, but I'm just excited for the path because I know it's something greater on the other side. The boys want Fortnite. That's all they care. May God continue to bless you with everything your heart desires.
I want to get to the point where she was talking about he didn't abuse her.
Everybody. Pulled down the steps, kicked, and that's not.
Here it comes, y'all.
And I want to talk about abuse as well, because a lot of people feel like abuse is just being punched on, pulled down the steps, kicked, and that's not what abuse is. That's not the only type of abuse. There's mental and emotional abuse as well. So when I say abuse, I'm meaning emotional and mental. Y'all seen a lot of success. I'm talking about that mostly. Me having a broken finger has never happened. Me being punched and kicked, and like so many people made all these stories from I don't know what, but none of that happened to me. I never had a black eye. I've never been thrown into a wall, none of that stuff. So when I say 6 years, I mean emotional and mental abuse. As people doing arguments all the time. So when I keep seeing this narrative of woman beater, woman beater, woman beater, I'm like, now I ain't say he damn pushed me down the stairs and blacked my eye and kicked me in the back. And people just took it way too far. But abuse is abuse. And this has never happened before. But like I said, I'm at peace. I pray for him to have peace.
So this the honeymoon phase. He's gotten to her. He has. I don't care what she say. Y'all can tag her in it, whatever. I ain't telling you to, but if you do, I don't care if you do. She's covering up for him. Something that you heard in the prior video that I played, or the prior audio that I played, where she said, I've been covering up for him, covering up for him, covering up for him, protecting his image, you're protecting his image now. He's gotten to her because she wanted to co-parent. Let me tell you something about abuse. When you're in an abusive relationship, co-parenting is not an option. Because they didn't care about abusing you when they were a parent and a co-parent to your child at the moment of the abuse. Co-parenting is not an option. Especially in the beginning of you releasing yourself from an abuser. That's how they use the children to rope you back in. She didn't got roped back in. Now she telling some, I said emotional. I never said that he physically abused me. This right here is only happened one time. I never said he broke my finger. Yes, you did. Like now you sit up here, you willing to cloud your character to protect his character. That happens a lot in abused people. I'm gonna continuously let it play. However, you said that your children don't like him, that he's not really a father. He barely spends time with your children. You said these things, but now you clean it. Now you want to clean it up. You're not worried about your image at this point. You're worried about his. That's what abused people do. When you're in that psychological trauma, that's what you do. You cover up for your abuser. I'm gonna get on Kevin Wesley later. I'm gonna just dissect him on a whole nother live stream. I was gonna do it on this one, but I'm gonna do it on a whole nother live stream because he hate whenever I was basically telling the characteristics of an abused person. He blocked me. So that lets you know right there that he also ain't shortcoming from being a narcissist and possibly an abuser himself. But we gonna get into him because I gotta dissect his ass some more. I gotta do more research on him and I gotta allow discernment. But I know it's something with him. But let's go.
And me as well. Happiness is found within. Yes. So I can't be up here preaching and telling y'all about self-love, and then I'm not even focusing on self-love. I gotta focus on self-love for me too. I gotta practice what I preach. I can't be on here preaching to y'all. Self-love is the best love. You need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, you need to do that. You have to really, 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 really do the work. Can't just talk about it. You gotta be about it. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for all the love and support, the prayers, the positive. I can tell the difference between the people who like have ill intentions and ill will versus people who have ill intentions. So I just want to say thank y'all for that. But like I said, I'm back on.
So they're gonna do
Cortez Masto.
But y'all can go and watch it yourself. I'm not gonna play anymore because she has commercials. You know, hers is monetized and mine is monetized. I don't want it to get in the way of what's going on. But at the end of the day, the woman literally is now covering for him. Y'all heard where she was literally crying out about the abuse that she was going through and then how she tried to minimize. I'm upset with her for that. First off, Miss LaTruth, I'm upset with you because you literally spoke for women that are really going through this shit. And they're going through this shit at a wide scale. Like, oh, my cousin, Dorian the Beard is on here. Hey, cousin. Love you. Much gratitude to you. That's my cousin, y'all. Y'all probably follow him too, by the way. He in the Bearded group. Y'all be following him. He also does short stories, so go follow him on Instagram. But anyway, that's like my blood cousin, my first cousin. So y'all know. But anyway, like she said, Tanidra said, she's still covering up for him. She's still covering up for him, and that's not okay. Like, why do we always feel like, man or woman, why do we always feel like we got to cover up for somebody when we know what we're going through? We know what we experience. That woman went live stream in the middle of this man after he done took this tote, beat all up on her, talking crazy to dad. The dad experienced, the dad in the middle of it. Would have never done all of that stuff if that never happened. Now you let days pass. He wine and dine. You do the honeymoon phase. Let me show y'all what the honeymoon phase is. Let me get the wheel out for the honeymoon phase. Cause y'all gotta understand this shit is deep. This shit is deep. And it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I want y'all to share this. I want y'all to like this. I want y'all to be able to, and if you need the National Domestic Violence Hotline, I want y'all to know the number is 1-800-799-7233. And I'm going to put that down here too. Talk to somebody. This is some place that you could talk to somebody. There's nothing wrong with talking to people. You know, they're not going to hold it against you. They don't know who you are. It's completely, private. They don't ask you a bunch of information. They're just there to talk. Yeah, holidays is definitely what they use. Thank you, Tanidra. Abusers definitely use holidays to creep back in because we always, this is the honeymoon. I mean, the holidays. I need to be with my husband or my wife or blah, blah, blah. Nah, y'all falling for the bullshit every time. Okay, so the honeymoon phase. Let me explain to y'all what the honeymoon phase is. Also, this is the number if you are going through domestic violence and you need to talk to somebody. I want you all to be able to reach out to somebody that you can talk to and be able to tell them what you're going through. A lot of people are very ashamed, and they are they're ashamed by having to go through something like that. It can be very shameful. I've been through it, y'all. I understand. I've called these hotlines before. I was young calling this hotline. I was 16, 17 years old dealing with abuse. Couldn't even talk to my own mama. So I called the hotline and I was able to tell them what I was going through. And they were able to talk me through it. They told me to get help. They helped guide me in different ways and different places that I can go to, crisis centers and things like that, in order to get help. So I would never tell people not to get help, not to get counseling. Counseling is just a way to be able to talk to somebody about the things that you're going through and have somebody that's going to be not be objective to things, but they're going to be able to listen to you in every aspect and not be judgmental. That's the best way that I could put it. But this is the cycle of domestic abuse. When it comes to the honeymoon phase, it appears to be a period of rest from the abuse and perhaps even on the end of it. But the question here is this really a honeymoon? In my opinion, it is not. Don't get caught up in the honeymoon phase, because it is just a continuation of the abuse. For that reason, we need to look at how to escape from the honeymoon phase and why we should. The cycle of abuse consists of 3 phases. This cycle has been modified over the years, but in the original version, the first cycle consists of tension building, in which the woman walks on eggshells due to the abuser's behaviors. He becomes critical, jealous, cold, distant, and withdrawn, and the woman can only wait for the impending doom. The second phase is where the battering occurs, or the battering phase. There is an explosion of verbal attacks. The abuser becomes hostile and screams out threats, breaks objects, or physically assaults her. The third phase is known as the honeymoon phase. He says that he is sorry. He gives her flowers or expensive gifts. He might start to take on responsibilities such as caring for the kids or participate in household activities that he refused to do before the violent events. During this time, he might even say he is going to seek help and change his behaviors. Most women, more than likely, they want to believe that he is sorry and is going to change. So that's what happened. She already said, during the honeymoon phase, he does not give the real motives behind his sudden change from being mean to nice. His reason for being so tearful and apologetic is to stop her from going to the police, especially when there is bruising or other evidence of physical assault. So what happened is she did do, if y'all remember, well, if you don't know, some of y'all don't know, but what she did press charges, by the way. So of course there's this about 1 month into the next court date. Of course, he doesn't want to have abuse on his record. He is a social media influencer. He's been trying to wine, dine her, cry, beg, plead, everything. He don't want a record behind this shit. And so, yeah, he's been pulling out all the stops he needs to in order for him not to get in trouble for what he did. So again, like they said, his reason for being so tearful and apologetic is to stop her from getting to the police, especially when there is a bruising or evidence of physical assault. Or he could be afraid of losing her. His ultimate motive is to return the relationship back to the state where he was in full control. Therefore, he showers her with so many gifts and kind words, and she doesn't have the time to think about or even remember the abusive events and seek help. She may feel pressured into accepting his presence. She might be afraid to refuse him, afraid the abuse will return, like a bad movie sequel, bigger and meaner than before. There is a fear that if she is not receptive, the tension and abuse cycle will resume. Due to his deceptive behaviors, she is pushed back into the grooming phase, which reminds her of the good times. Those memories reinforce the hopes that he can change. She begins to fantasize that the relationship would become the kind of relationship she had hoped before. This hope leads her to tell herself that it wasn't that bad and to dismiss the idea of seeking help. And so he gets away with his behaviors as a result of psycho abuse and goes on. So that's what's happening with Miss LaTruth. That's exactly what's happening. And I was so disappointed, but I know this cycle because I'm too well familiar with this cycle. Hold on, y'all. Let me I want to go back to it because I want to show y'all how this is working on her.
Cortez Masto puts criminals first.
Hold on.
Stop the insanity.
Okay, we're gonna go back to her.
I said, I'm back on this pink journey. I'm excited. Everything's
She keeps trying to get off the subject.
I'm excited for this journey. I'm excited. Love you, girl. I'm focused on right now. My healing process, my relationship with God, my kids, and great co-parenting. That's all I'm focused on. I'm not trying to be bitter. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm not trying to go on a bashing match. I don't want to do none of that. I don't want to do none of that. And for those who are going through situations like this and you have kids involved, do not make your kids pay for what happened with you in your relationship. Continue to let your kids make their own decisions about their parents.
That wasn't a good advice. Y'all just went through a traumatic situation. Don't say, oh, don't make your kids go through what you went through. You can't give people that's been through abuse just because you're going to okay your abuser and what he did to you, and you're going to allow your kids to be around him after you've already had them on live stream tell how they've been in traumatic situations through this man. Just because you're going to make them forget, now you're psychologically traumaing and building your children up to accept trauma. Miss LaTruth. Because I really went through, you want to say that broken finger, that's not broken, now it's sprung. But you want to say, oh, it wasn't that big of a deal. Well, what about women like me who got their finger halfway shot off from a gun being at their head? And you're trying to say, oh, don't make the kids have to deal with this. Still co-parent. You can't co-parent with an abuser, Miss Ma'am. You can't co-parent with an abuser. I'm going to need you to do more research on what abuse really is and how much danger you really are in, ma'am. You have a huge platform, and you're basically telling women to accept the abuse that they went through, accept the honeymoon phase, accept what the man have to say, as long as you're not feeling that hurt no more or it's subsided, to go ahead and not look at it for what it really is. But it is what it is. You were abused, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I don't care how you try to minimize the abuse. Oh, I was talking about emotional. Emotional abuse is worse than physical.
Don't force something onto your kids. Don't fill their head up with what you've been through to make them not like the other parent. Let them make their own decisions. Let them make their own decisions.
But you said that your children were bamming on the door, trying to protect you. Your children were bamming on the door, trying to protect you because they know that you've been constantly going through what you were going through. Your children were going to school telling the teacher that they have been through trauma. So what is this about? Were they going through trauma or were they not going through trauma? Which one is it? You had them on camera giving their
own decisions,
their own perception of what they had encountered with this man. 3 of your children ain't even his children. And these were the 3 that had been dealing with what they had been dealing with. So come on now, like it just comes a time where a lot of times we got to quit uplifting these influencers and things like that, because look at this is a whole mess. Like, you have a huge following and you decided to utilize your following to downplay abuse.
Nobody fills your kid's head. I know sometimes you be like, damn, I don't like that. You look just like him. But no, let your kids have a relationship with their other parent. It don't matter if y'all together. if y'all not together and stuff is going on, don't fill your kids' head up with lies.
Let me tell y'all something. We got to stop minimizing our children and what they really can accept and what they really do see for themselves. I saw what I saw as a child. My mom couldn't come to me and be like, don't be mad at your father, blah, blah, blah. I saw my father drag you down the fucking hallway and beat you in your head. I saw him drag you down the hallway by your hair. I saw him punching you like a dude in the streets. I saw him kicking you. I heard you screaming from him beating on you. And now you want to tell me, well, don't hold that against your father. To this day, I'm 44 years old and I remember that shit. I can visualize that shit as if it's happening right now in my head. Quit trying to tell your children they ain't seen what they seen. You're not being a good parent by doing that. If you want to be a dummy and be a fool and still accept what the fuck a man is doing to you, that's fine. But don't try to make them seem like, see, that's another thing. That's abuse right there. Trying to make your children feel like they ain't seen what they done seen. And then not address it. Address it when you mad, but then when you not mad, try to smooth over and be like, oh, well, that didn't really happen. And please don't be mad at him because you not mad at him. That's fucked up. You putting your children through fucking trauma. You abusing your children. They're not going to respect you or nor are they going to trust you as the mother because you're doing that. Yeah, you can hop on, King Breezy.
When I'm doing a car giveaway, I'm not doing a car giveaway. Thanksgiving food and then Christmas is coming.
She talking about giving gifts away to families and all this stuff. See, she even trying to take her viewers' mind and put them in the mind that she's in. She wants them to forget everything she talked about, and she wants them to forgive him too, because he didn't psychologically got in her mind to be forgiven and let it go and to protect his image, like she said in the video prior, that's what she's been doing for years and years and years. Now we're going to do turkey giveaways and I'm doing this for the parents and I'm giving this away and I'm giving that, taking the focus off of what the real issue is. And I'm not saying live in the issue. Don't get me wrong, because I don't want people to take my words and be tagging me and shit and be saying, oh, she's saying it. No, I don't like drama. I don't. However, when it comes to domestic violence, that shit is serious. Whether it's mental, physical, whatever it may be, financial, whatever, it's serious. It's not nothing to play with. And you utilizing your platform because you too weak to fucking stand strong. Then just say that. But don't sit up there and utilize your platform and downplay the fact that your finger did get broken or sprung or whatever you said broken. And that you, like, come on now, sis. We have a bigger responsibility as the divine feminine to stand up on our truth. We have a bigger responsibility as the divine feminine to start the foundation of strength and not keep allowing the abuse that's happening in our community. We keep allowing men to abuse us. We keep abusing ourselves, half naked all the time, acting like we not worth shit but a fucking body and sex. That's not a good example of even being a mom. I don't care if you're with them 24/7. You're putting too much focus on a man and allowing this man to tell you how you're supposed to react to what he did to you and your children. You're not being responsible. Fuck. It's making me mad, dog. Putting your children in this shit. That shit pissed me off.
Thank you, Brandy. Life, and I have to do this because of my husband, or I have to do this because of the kids. You gotta remember, there was once a you. There was once a you before him. There was once a you before your kids. So just get back to you, however that means for you. It don't mean you gotta, whatever type of situation you're in, it don't mean you have to leave them to figure that out. But for me, I feel like this is the best decision for me. I don't know what your decision is. I don't know what your means are. But for me, this is the best decision for me. For my healing, for my growth, just, I love it here. And now I'm pretty much dating me, dating myself. Ain't nothing wrong with it. So now I can come back to whatever I'm meant to have whole and not feeling incomplete. Now I know who I am. Now I know what I want.
Baby girl, going to church for 3 Sundays in a row is not knowing who you are. I hate to break it to you, Miss LaTruth, but going to church for a couple days or a couple weeks in a row after your husband completely violated you and have been violating you for years, and now you done found this self-awareness of self and you're dating yourself and you're good. Quit feeding that shit. Quit worrying about media and tell, if you're gonna stand in your truth, stand in your truth the whole time. You're gonna be a hot mess for some months, maybe even some years after you leave an abusive relationship. You ain't just gonna be fresh and so clean, literally, because you didn't went to church and gave your life to Christ, and now all of a sudden you don't feel nothing that you went through. Oh, kids, forget everything that y'all seen. Let me forget everything that I've seen and everything that I was saying to these women that have been in worse situations than me, and now let me say that I am anew. That's bullshit. I wish that was the case. I want that for you. But church ain't gonna get you there.
Now I know what I want. Now I know what I don't want. Now I know what I love about
Y'all can lie to whoever you want to.
That's the best part about it. Well, I'm excited about this journey. Coming back to North Carolina, heck no, I will never come back to North Carolina. Yes, I'm taking all the time I need for me. Yes. I'm just focused on me right now. So many oftentimes we lose ourselves in our titles. We lose ourselves in being a wife.
Okay, I'm done talking, letting her talk. But anyway, I just had to show y'all that, okay? Because this is something that is viral amongst our community, and it just makes me so sick to my stomach with her coming out literally a week or 2 weeks later. All of a sudden, your whole story can change. And then his brother, Kevin Wesley, who I'm going to go and do a whole live stream about, utilizing your live stream against you in your own words. The same one that you said you felt like was having a gay relationship, all during this whole process, you didn't outed him and said that your husband told you things about him. Like, come on now, y'all. Like, we can't, us as women, we got to do better. We got to do better. And that's why I'm doing this live stream. Y'all got to quit taking what somebody impounds on you as a woman. We have a responsibility this time more than we ever have in all of the generations to come. We have a responsibility to stand in our truth. We have a responsibility to stand in our femininity. We have a responsibility to stand in our goddess-like form. We have a responsibility to be mothers, grandmothers, aunties, godmothers, everything that it takes to be the woman that is here to protect the children. That is our job. Not the men, but the children. The men have a responsibility after we done brought them here on this planet to be our support. If they're not our support, they don't need to be around us. Because ultimately, our focus should be the children. And if you're such a bitch-ass nigga or bum-ass nigga that you need your wife or your girlfriend or whatever to put the fucking focus on you outside of the children, it's about you gotta go. And a lot of y'all gonna go off this planet because of that shit. I done said this. Keep thinking it's a fucking game out here. It ain't about your ass. And all you women, you're not, like right now, I'm upset with the goddesses. I'm upset with the women. Because you're supposed to be doing better. Why is this man and his character and protecting him more important than your children? I don't care that y'all have a lifestyle to be able to give them whatever they want financially or materialistically. That doesn't raise a child. That doesn't make you a good parent because you can go out there and get them the new J's or the new Nikes or the new Cardi B Reeboks or whatever. That doesn't make you a parent because you can financially provide. What makes you a parent and what makes you a for real mother is that you're able to emotionally provide. Your children went to school on their own. You didn't tell them to go to school on their own and say, hey, I'm worried about my mom. I want my mom to be protected. They did that on their own because they went through trauma that you put them through with the nigga you decide to still be with because of financial gain or because you're trying to protect him over your children. That's bullshit. Y'all don't give them people no fucking money. That made me mad, sis. I'm sorry. I watched that.
I know.
Up there and just literally take up for this man over your children.
And that comes from conditioning. That comes from slavery. We remember, you feel me? We've been enslaved the longest. Us as women, us as Black women have been enslaved the longest. So you got to think about all these patriarchal religions that have it set up to where the man can get away with anything and can do anything. And then they tell you to go and pray to that same God. You feel me? They told our ancestors and us to pray to that same God that basically granted the man permission to have dominion over us. And that was never the way it was supposed to be. So that's a lot where that shit comes from. It's post-traumatic slave syndrome. Like, I've literally been able to pinpoint a lot of different things that I know is tied back into that. And that's been really the only part that's been able to make me not get as mad at stuff and to get into that forgiving state. So that way I will be able to know like how to start healing from stuff. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And how to start and how to start seeing each other from a greater perspective, because it's really been a lot that's been put against us in general. And it's everything that you're talking about, them making excuses and all this. Mothers be making excuses for their sons. You get what I'm saying? What you were saying about what you had went through with your son's father, like, even though my son's father never, he only put his hands on me one time. He pushed me, but that was because, I caught him on his shit, because there was a time where he left my son. Like, he had my son in the playpen, shitty up the back, pissy up the front. And usually, you feel me? Usually I don't like when my son's dad was in the picture, like, I would always call before I popped up at his house to come and get him, just, so my son would be ready. But this one time, Spirit told me, hey, just pop up over there. This nigga out in the garage sleep. My son is in the front of the house, in the living room, in the playpen, dirty, all of that. So I get to tripping and everything else like that. And his mom, she just always made excuses for him. And, oh, that's just this or that's just that. So it's not even just how she's making excuses for this man. The mothers make excuses for their sons. Like, there should not be any excuses for anybody. And the main time the mamas do that stuff is because they've been subject to some kind of abuse. Mm-hmm. And just even listening to everything you said about what you remember from your childhood and your mom telling you not to, to forgive him and not to be mad, like, that's gaslighting. That's a form of gaslighting. I don't know what form of gaslighting that is, but I feel like it makes you alter your own perspective to where that kind of stuff you could be susceptible to. And I feel like that kind of stuff and your mom making you forgive him and impressing that into you is what made that kind of stuff even be able to attract to you in the first place. Because you know how a whole bunch of people say, oh, you are what you attract. And if you attracted somebody abusive, then that's this. But it could be something like that. That could have been where the attraction came from, not necessarily something that you did. You know what I'm saying? With me personally, my abuse is, I've only been in 2 abusive grown relationships, both of which were with women. One of them was physical, where she used to, take off, punch me in the mouth, all kind of different stuff like that. The other one was my last relationship, was very mentally, verbally, spiritually abusive. The whole walking on eggshells thing. She would literally go and start issues and problems that weren't even there to try and get me to feed into whatever it was that she needed or what she was doing. But she was cheating on me the whole time, literally making life hard for me, but was cheating on me the whole time. To where, like, I really didn't have no voice. I shut down. Like, she was controlling me through all kind of different ways and vices. And, that relationship, those took up the last 10 years of my life. So right now in this marriage that I'm in, I'm still healing through all of those 10 years. And even with my wife, you get what I'm saying? Like, she was in an abusive relationship and we're literally healing from those things together, because, like, just the way that this shit is set up is wild. And like my major abuse that really had the biggest impact on my life was as a child. So I was one of those kids that came out young. I came out as gay at 12 years old and literally was not accepted from Jump Street. My mom tried to get an exorcism done on me in the church. She damned me to hell, told me that I was going to hell, all this other stuff like that. One of my older brothers, he's like 4 years older than me. He used to beat my ass, like for trying to wear his clothes and stuff like that. Cause I never felt comfortable in feminine clothes because at the age of 10, I was getting, I had got molested by a grown man that had just got out of prison and I was getting looked at by grown men. So I started dressing that way as a cover up to keep myself covered. It never really was because I like girls. So he used to beat on me. My brother used to do that. But the reason why that brother specifically used to beat on me is because he was gay and he was in the closet. And, back in those times, it was more acceptable for a woman to be gay than a man. So because of his anger, you get what I'm saying? He used to beat my ass. And there was a time where he almost killed me in front of my mama twice. He literally held me in a chokehold I was 14 years old. Like, and the thing about it is with the whole gaslighting situation, like my mom, she's literally looked me in my face and told me that this has never happened before and that I'm delusional and all this other stuff. Like, this is my own mama. You get what I'm saying? That's done this. And I've forgiven her in the ways that I've been able to find out how, but it's so like, it's so wild. Like, okay, so he tried to kill me in front of her. Then, okay, my dad, let me bring my dad into it. My dad's been in and out of my life since I was 5 years old. I didn't even know what a dad was until I was 5. One day, this big black man walk up in the house and say, "Hey, I'm your daddy. I'm finna take you to go see your other brothers and sisters." Trauma already. So he takes me to go see his other children. He always treats me different than them. He buys them Jordans, buys them Uggs, buys them all the, goddamn, finer things. I get a pair of And1s that's 2 sizes too small for me, and he forces me to wear them. I'm not used to the kind of food because my mama cooks soul food. My daddy from the East Coast. So this nigga cook all kind of other different meals that I'm not familiar about because I'm growing up under my mama. So this one time there was this food I really didn't want to eat. I picked around at it, threw it away. He made me eat it out the trash can. You get what I'm saying? So no, for real. And I think I was like 8 or 9 years old when this happened. He used to let my other brother, Joseph, which is 2 years older than me. Mind you, I'm the baby out of all my siblings. I got 5 brothers and a sister, and I'm the baby. So my other brother, he used to chase me around the house with water bugs. This nigga used to throw chains at me. He used to throw water on me in the middle of the night. He used to DDT me and do all kind of wrestling moves. Like, my dad never stopped him. My mom never stopped him. So those is 2 brothers, 2 abuses. Then my mom and my dad, then they're toxic as shit. They argue, they fight. My mama used to call my daddy fat bastard all the time. My daddy used to talk about my mama and all this other stuff and go back and forth and put me in the middle to where I literally had this mind state of if I wasn't off and on with people, then it wasn't like a real solid bond. I had to be like, because it's like, oh, if we argue and we don't get back right, then if we don't have this make up to break up type of thing going on.
Yeah.
That was the
I
story
hate that cycle. I hate that
story of my life for a very long time because of the fact of me having to go back and forth in between abusers. Because the night that my brother tried to kill me in front of my mama, like I said, she had just got off work. Baby had on a blue tank top, blue jeans. She used to unbutton her pants. Mamas unbutton their pants while they cleaning up when they got off work and stuff like that. But she walking around, she's cleaning up everything. This nigga come in, get to tripping on me. For one, they snatched me out the movie theater. I forgot whole story. Snatched me out the goddamn movie theater, drove me home. My brother in the front, like, oh, since you want to be like a dude and dress like a dude, you're going to have to fight me like a dude. All this other stuff like that. Mind you, like my brother big as hell at this time. He's 18, I'm 14. So, we get to the house. He's in my face. He's yelling, calling me all out my name. I get my, he's pushing me. Like, I get my PSP and I hit him with it because he just won't get out my face. So then he takes me, throws me all around my room, throws me into the corner of an oak wood dresser that was like from the 80s or something. Threw me into the corner of it, almost knocked my tailbone out of place, and literally put me in a master lock to where my mama was standing in a hallway. I remember the darkness around this woman's eyes. You get what I'm saying? Like, because she was tired of, like, I felt like she was tired of me. And it was because of the fact of me being gay. Just all kind of different stuff was going on in my head. And I'm literally begging for her to tell him to get up off me. And it wasn't until my eyes started rolling in the back of my head that she told him to get off. That nigga left after that, went across the street to his friend's house. So I grabbed me some clothes. I'm finna leave. I got to get up out of here. So I go and I get some clothes. I try and leave. My mama blocked the front door. Get on the phone, call my brother, tell him to come back over here. We at it again, fighting all this other shit.
Then he goes and he puts me in the same master lock this time, but I'm able to hit him in the eye and get up out of it and take off running to the door. So I'm running and I get away, you feel me? And I go to one of my friends' house and I call my dad, like, I need you to come get me. I need to go to the hospital. And I tell him where I'm at and what's going on. And this, you know, my dad made it seem like, you know, he was there for me, took me to the hospital. I moved in with him. He bought me clothes. He bought me shoes, all of this stuff. He ended up getting full custody of me. But the thing about it is, okay, he sent me to one of his counselors, because my dad was a counselor for all the youth and for the group homes and stuff out in Bakersfield, where I'm from. You know, he was well known. And so he had me going to one of his counselors. Thing about it is he only wanted to get custody of me so that way he didn't have to pay child support, because my daddy was clearing $80,000 checks every couple weeks and shit like that. So he was paying like $1,000 in child support. That's the only reason why. And he took all of my confidential stuff that I talked to his counselors about to court and won custody of me. And once he got custody of me, mind you, my daddy was giving me money. He was letting me go places. I didn't have no freedom. My mama used to keep me locked in the goddamn house. I couldn't go outside like that. I used to have to keep clothes in my locker at school so that way I could change, because she would check my clothes and stuff before I left. You get what I'm saying? Like all kind of different shit like that. So once he got custody of me, all what he was doing for me stopped. Everything completely stopped, to the point where he flipped into a whole other different person. I'm thinking that I'm getting away from this abuse and I'm running right back to it again. So and then he wouldn't let me talk to my mom. I remember crying in the middle of the night all the time. Go upstairs. I remember crying in the middle of the night all the time because I wanted to talk to my, like, all I know is my mama. Like, I know this nigga, but I don't know him like that. You feel me? And I miss my mama. So it's like, that right there was enough. And so it got to the point where he wouldn't let me talk to my mama so much to where I started sneaking the phone in the middle of the night, calling her. And so, like, when I called her this one time, I told her, just come get me. Like, I can't do this. You know, he got me babysitting his wife's, his girlfriend's children. I can't go nowhere. Nigga got me walking, crossing a busy street in the fog to get to the bus stop to get to school. Like you don't care if I get smacked by a car, all kind of different stuff like that. So I had my mama come get me and I took as many clothes as I could. I went back to her house. My daddy wouldn't give me my clothes. He didn't give me my clothes for 3 months. So for 3 months, I had 4 outfits that I was going back and forth in between trying to switch up, because my mama was, you know, a single mama. She didn't have the bread like that to get me clothes, or say she did, whatever. I don't know what happened. But my mom held it against me for years that my daddy got custody of me, because she thought that I was over there lying on her, which no, I wasn't. I literally was trying to get help from my emotional and mental trauma that I was going through and shit like that. You get what I'm saying? I didn't know what to do. And so, like, after that, I ended up, everything was cool after the first 4 months or whatever. Then that 5th month, my mama started going in with this shit again. And then at that point, I think I was maybe 15 and a half, almost 16. I went out into the streets on my own. Then I started slinging junk food at school. I started selling tree at school. I was getting it to the point where I was making enough money to afford an apartment in that time. I slept at parks, nigga. I did whatever the hell I needed to do to find myself and to find my solitude, scared as hell. And there were situations where I would try and go back to my mama's house. Like, there was a time I walked and I showed my kids on Google Maps the distances of where I've walked to try and get a jacket from my mama, and my mama wouldn't let me get a jacket. You get what I'm saying? I've showed them distance. Like, I told them about this story that I had to walk like 10, 15 blocks in the middle of the night. And I got chased by these 2 Mexicans, and down the way or whatever, like down the street from my destination of where I was trying to get to. And I'm running, like something just told me run. And I'm running, you feel me? And I get tired because these 2 drunk men is chasing me. And I look to the left, and there's these apartments, and there's a window, and I see a woman glowing in gold, and she got a big old fro. And she says, "Brianna, keep running." And as soon as I heard that, my whole body got this shift, and I was able to zoom. Like, I had on 2 backpacks and a gym bag, y'all, because I hooped. I play basketball. So I'm running with all this stuff, my shoes, my clothes, everything up in here, full speed ahead, while these 2 drunk niggas is chasing me. And I was able to hit my friend gate, hide, all of that other stuff like that, you feel me? So that way they could not know where I was. And it was just like, oh, you know, she lucky that we didn't find that little bitch, because we would have raped her, killed her. Like, I'm hearing what they saying about me. So, like, all of this has to do with, like, the types of trauma and the types of things that I've been through, because it's really been hard for me to trust. It's really been hard for me to do all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then getting into these relationships with people where you get to talking to people about your childhood, and you get to talking to people about things that you went through that was kind of abusive or traumatic or whatever. People will feed off of that shit. Both my exes fed off my trauma. I to give just a little engine of a backstory. Just
my mom told me, and not so recently when somebody else told me this, but my mom kept telling me, when you get in relationships, don't tell me you've been in abusive relationships. I never knew why, because one thing about my mom, you know, I already don't really trust a lot of things she say, because she was the one like, oh, give your dad a chance. And I'm watching my dad beat the fuck out of you. You know what I mean? For 10 years straight, I don't even sleep deeply anymore in my life, because as a child, I was traumatized out of my sleep from you screaming, being raped, being drugged, being kicked, being hit. So with that being said, you telling me anything, I really don't take into consideration about any of that. You know what I mean? You're telling me to be cool with this man. This man, because he's my father. I don't give a fuck.
That mean daddies be out here raping their daughters and putting their whole penis in front of their children. Like, what the hell do that mean? And that shit is biblical too. Come on now, that come right out the Bible. That the God of the Bible okayed that. The God of the Bible okayed all them acts. What is y'all man?
Listen, me and my sister both, for whatever reason, me and my sister as adults finally sat and talked. You know how sisters sit and talk and we be around each other. At one point we lived together a couple times before. She lived with me, I didn't live with her. Anyway, we were having these like sister times where we're in a room just talking shit, talking about our childhood. And for whatever reason, we both feel uncomfortable when our father touches us. Even as a hug, we can't, neither one of us can figure out why. But we know that's not normal for when your father hugs you, your biological father, or touch you, you feel dirty.
Yep. And that right there, that shows that our body, literally, this is why yoga
your body
and
can tell shit that you might not even recollect.
No, for real, because it could be so repressed here that you don't remember, or it could have been something that happened
so much trauma can make you block it out.
But the body will always remember. This is why you could hit certain yoga positions or certain asanas or whatever, and that will literally make you break down into tears, because our body intakes, you know, this is where all our cell work is. It literally intakes all of those sensory nerve perceptions and everything that goes on, the stimulus and all of that. Remember, we got to remember, you feel me, that the skin is the biggest organ. We have all these sensory receptors underneath our skin. So our body is going to remember all of that stuff, even if our brain or our mind don't remember. And it could have been that y'all daddy could have been doing stuff to y'all, you know what I'm saying, in y'all sleep or just anything. You just never know. You never know. Like my own cousin touched on me when I was in the first grade and shit like that. And just I've experienced a lot of different just filthy acts from animals. I don't even want to call them men or nothing. No, animals. That is animalistic.
That's exactly what they are.
And that's just what that is. And it's just, and this is not to say nothing, because women can be that way too. Women can do all of these other different things too. But this is where my dilemma comes at when it comes to the females, because we were here first. But nobody wants to unhand what it was that we was on before we were exposed to any of this shit. Like, even in the etymology of the word prostitution, it literally means to be exposed to it. Who exposed us to that? They say that that's the oldest profession in the world. Why is that? Because that's the first thing that's the first job that we possibly all had when our planet was invaded. Like, it's all kind of stuff genetically, genetic memories, genetic, all of that plays a part in everything that's going on right now. This shit is not new. This shit been here. Like, and it's just so wild to me. And like, even hearing you speak on the girl that's making excuses for the dude, like
Miss LaTrue. So it's ironic that his name LaTruth, and then she took on the name LaTruth, but ain't shit true about his ass.
Nothing.
It's a whole nother story.
Nothing. And just in a sense of the whole domestic violence thing, like it can come in multiple forms. It could be sexual, it could be spiritual, it could be physical, emotional, financial,
Financial.
all of that stuff. Like somebody can be withholding sex from you. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Somebody could like man, the shit that I went through in my last relationship, that it was just wow. Like even got down to the point where my ex said fuck my ancestors for real. Like it got real disrespectful. So that's why I don't, man, look, anybody can follow and subscribe to anything. I will never. I lived first-handedly in that whole situation to see what it was for what it was, and ain't nothing even right about that shit. Like,
Can we just get on the subject of because we were talking on the live stream that I had Friday with Rod Hayes and B Dale and the two guys, and you know, Rod, he already tells us like at the end of the day, y'all niggas better get it together because we won't be here as men. Like he
at
pushed.
all.
I don't know if you know Rod Hayes, but he definitely lets them know mother's word and what we need to do according to what mother have for us. But he definitely let them know, like, y'all niggas is fucking it up. They don't need us. They don't need us. They wanted us to be here. Now we fucked it up for them. So it's our time to get our, if you don't get your shit together, if you don't tap into the divine feminine within you, you ain't gonna be here. You ain't gonna last. So he speaks on that, but I'm mad at, and I just wanted, because people always say I'm always talking to men. Let's talk to the women. I'm mad at the women because I'm tired of scrolling.
I'm tired of women playing this weak, humble, meek shit. That's what I'm really tired of. Because what nobody, none of that shit. If I gotta pull out this etymology on that ass, I definitely will. Because ain't nothing meek or weak or humble. Like I keep seeing that shit. And I keep seeing where y'all throw these Bible scriptures up talking about, oh, you know, to be humble and meek and this all, like you're literally speaking weak bitch syndrome onto yourself. That's what I'm really mad at too. And we have never been none of that.
No.
I'm mad because y'all don't stand up for yourself and stand up for what's right and fight for yourself. And it's just like it's just as controversial as Kanye saying slavery was a choice.
Yeah.
It's just as controversial. You get what I'm saying? Y'all okay this stuff because this is the thing. A lot of women don't speak out about the abuse that comes from the media. Who do you think trains and programs these niggas to go and do what they do? These songs that we hear. These movies that we watch, like you can go on Tubi right now. It's a whole bunch of low vibrational black movies, black cinema.
I ain't never subscribed to that shit.
I watched one movie the other day. It's called It Ain't Easy with Mac 10 and all them niggas. And it's talking about hoes and just everything. And just seeing how even the females that was okay with playing in the roles in them movies. And I already be saying this. I personally be feeling like a lot of the females, quote unquote females, that they try and show in these degrading music videos and movies and all this, I feel like they're trannies for real. Because you got to think about the position of a tranny. Most trannies be in the hiddens. You got the ones that's out there that don't give a fuck. You got those. I respect them ones more than anything. The ones who at least is out there and will let a motherfucker know something. But then you got the ones who will take whatever kind of abuse or take whatever kind of degrading because of attention. And I'm gonna tell you why they do this shit. This is coming from a lesbian woman, and I don't even like using them terms like that. But the word lesbian is more spiritual than anything because it's connected to the moon. Anyways, they take that kind of abuse because 9 times out of 10, them was the same boys that was not accepted in their childhood by their mothers or their fathers and everything else like that. And they used to get hit on and beat on by other siblings and different things like that. So they're used to it. They're trained for abuse. They're trained for all that behavior. And they still seek some kind of love, some kind of attention, some kind of 15 seconds of fame, some type of something. So they will subscribe themselves and get all dolled up with the hair and the nails and the lashes and everything to go be a video vixen in these goddamn music videos, throwing fake BBLs around and everything to brainwash real women into thinking that this is what you do to get a man. This is what you do to get something going. This is what you do to get some money. This is what you do to do this. This is what you do to do that. And meanwhile, it's men tricking your ass.
Well, let me tell you something. I was just talking to my husband about this earlier. Alan Judah, he a brother of mine, he speaks on this a lot. He basically says everybody in the industry that's a woman is a man, and everybody that's in the industry that's a man is a woman. I don't believe that. I'm gonna tell you why, because I was in the industry. I was in the dance industry, where it came to entertainment, as far as, you know, being a exotic dancer at one point in my life. And I know that's where the BBLs come from, the injections come from. These were complete women. We all saw each other pussies and everything. It was women, okay? It was inbred in the entertainment industry a long time ago. So a lot of these women, they're my age, and I still see them to this day rocking fake asses. I could have did it. I almost did it. Got breast implants in the ass because I thought that's what I need to do in order to make more money and all this and that. But I just kept staying true to me. I am who I'm supposed to be at this moment. I am who I'm always supposed to be. However, not all of them are men pretending to be women. These are literally women that are lost. I watched it. I was one of those lost women. I was one of those lost women. So this is not just trans men. This is women that look trans because they have been conditioned to try to get the attention of a man. And these men want trans looking women. They want the fake asses. They want the small waist. They want the breast implants. They want the wigs. They want all that. This is what women do to appeal to men.
Right.
Women that are lost. Women that really just don't know where to even start. I'm grateful enough to have the ancestors I have that protected me.
No, for real. And you went through that. You went through that experience. You went through that experience to gain intel. See, every last one of us has been through a life journey, and we have a story to tell. And literally everything that we've been exposed to, whether we exposed ourselves to it or not, or it was brought upon us, was literally to gain intel, knowledge, wisdom, and insight as to what time it is and what's really going on in those different sectors. So you living in that lifestyle, being in that energy, and seeing it from both sides, can't nobody really tell you shit.
No.
So when you feel like you biting your bones, then you are. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's really real. What time it is when it comes to it.
I've been in the industry. I've been around some of these rappers. I know they're straight men. I ain't gonna tell you how, but I know they're men. You know, so for me, like when people say everybody in the industry is a introvert, that's a lie. That's not true. There's lots of people that went into the industry like you and I. We could have been there. Right. That went in the industry thinking that they want to be able to provide for their families. I was there. I was one of those people that was close to signing a contract type of shit. You know, I wanted for my family to have better. So for me, it was like, okay, I'm great at modeling. I'm great at singing. If I have to sacrifice myself by making sure I'm the hard breadwinner, the worker, I didn't know, I wasn't trying to like sign shit in blood and like, you know, sell my soul. But for me, it was like, I'm the person that have the talents. Let me utilize my talents to create wealth for my family.
Right.
Lots of our people have done this shit. Some of them went all the way through, not knowing what they were getting into, but they knew that their focus was to take care of their family. So we can't sit up here and say everybody is bots, everybody is introverted, everybody is clones. That's not the case.
That's like a cop out, like saying this is a holographic universe and it's all fake. That's a cop out too. Because if this was a holographic universe and it's all fake, why is it that we go through the most shit out of everybody? Why ain't nobody else had to turn at oppression? The fuck? The same kind of oppression as deep as ours go. Because like everybody in Africa, they have their nobility, they have their royalties, they have all of that other stuff over there, their kingdoms and everything. What happened to ours? We the only ones that ain't never had no kingdoms. Like, come on now.
Yeah, I've actually had that you know, that discussion. Well, actually, I ain't even really had a discussion because it's people mad because I've been supporting the Kanye situation. You know, as you see, the spiritual community, and I'm not part of the spiritual community. However, people do connect me to the spiritual community because I'm spiritual and I'm tapped into my spirituality. That doesn't mean I'm part of a community. Right. However, they like to group you because that's what people do.
That's how they make distinctions and stuff. I am a lone wolf. I came here alone. I was born alone. I'm gonna die alone. Fuck friends. I don't need
that
them.
part.
So
that part. But however, you know, I've never felt a disconnection from Kanye, even when they called him crazy. I remember when they first called Kanye crazy. I'm 44, y'all. So a lot of y'all don't know that. But I remember when they first called him crazy was after he said Bush wasn't for black people.
Mhm.
And he was speaking about how Bush wasn't for black people. All of a sudden, they call him crazy, and he disappeared for years. That's when they MK Ultra'd his ass.
Yeah.
Kanye keeps breaking from the MK Ultra. That's why a lot of people don't know why they came up with this jab shit, because ain't shit been working on our people, our original people.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't none of they shit been working. They've been using us as experiments, but we still breaking out of that shit.
It's to the point where they're trying to get people who have never caught COVID to give up their blood because clearly they got something magical. I don't know if y'all know this or not.
Oh, I know that. That's what they do. Yeah. I had a dream. Oh my God. You just brought a dream back to me.
What happened?
My mom. Oh my goodness. Wow. I ain't even talked about this dream. I told you how powerful my dreams be. And sometimes
I'm already knowing. That's why I'm all ears. What happened?
My mom was working for a university, and I was here in Nevada, and she had a drone come follow me in Nevada. And I was just like, because my mom is all big on medicine, and she was a nurse at one point. Like, my mom is just, she follows doctors, she da-da-da-da. So I had to get on her all the time because she just go after what doctors say. She believes in medicine so bad. Not as much, but now that I started speaking to her about herbs, but she's still there. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden there's this drone, and I'm like, why is this drone following me? We were doing something, and this drone was following us. My mom calls me and was like, do you see the drone? I'm like, yeah, it's following me everywhere. Oh, well, you have something in your blood that you never got COVID. So with you saying that, it just brought it back to my recollection. I forgot all about it. She's like, you have something in your blood, and they want to study you. So they sent a drone from our university so the students can be able to, they want you to give a sample of your blood so that you can help people not get COVID because you never got COVID. That was in a fucking dream. I'm like, and I remember the next day, but I just didn't share it. So with you just saying that just brought it back to my head, like my recollection, like, oh my God. Like,
that right there, that's confirmation like a motherfucker.
Confirmation like a motherfucker. I just had to say that. But yes, my mom was
Hold on real quick.
All right. That is crazy. I forgot all about that dream until Brianna just said that. That's wild. Told y'all my dreams be off the and I was just sitting there like, what? And the next day when I thought about it, I'm like, really? Like, my mom was telling me that they wanted to test my blood because I didn't get COVID. I was flying back and forth to Arizona. I was flying to California. I would never wear the mask over my nose. They kept trying to get me to wear it over my nose in the plane, so I kept bringing my comfort blanket. Yes, I still have a comfort blanket. I would put it over my head as if I was asleep, but I would take my mask off. Like, through the airport, they would have to stop me and tell me to put my mask on. Like, I was one of those people that was just like diehard against masks. I wasn't gonna wear a mask. Like, I was around my parents. My parents are considered elders. They're in their late 50s and 60s. I didn't wear my mask. After traveling and going around them, they never got COVID from being around me. So I knew for a fact that was a lie. But when I got the dream, I was just like, wow.
My mama used to yell at me up and down. My daddy used to talk shit to me about wearing the mask, getting the vaccine. Like, literally, they used to be.
I remember you told me about it. We would have conversation.
Oh my God. And I would literally, like, my mom, there was even to a point where she was just like, because she called me, I was in the store and I was grabbing some stuff for dinner or whatever. And me, my son, we didn't have no mask on, no nothing. And she was just like, if you're not going to wear a mask when you're calling me on the phone and you're out, then just don't call me so I don't have to see that you don't have a mask on. I'm just like,
damn, is that deep?
It's that deep. For one, my mama was against getting the vaccine for a very long time and then went and got it and snuck it in that she got it when she told me about it because she had ended up getting sick. Mind you, my mama hadn't been to Kaiser in a minute. She hadn't been sick about nothing. She would still get migraines every now and again because she's always had high blood pressure, but that comes from not healing trauma. And I know where all my mama's sicknesses come from. That's why I try and just help her now and talk to her about stuff and different shit like that now, because I know I'm the healer of the family and of the Ohana, and it's all good. So you feel me? She had me take her to Kaiser, and I'm asking her, they gonna try and make you get the vaccine, then she gonna reach over, pull her mask down. Girl, I already got that vaccine. Boop, went back on the phone. I'm just sitting there like, when I tell you,
our family is not telling us. There's a lot of family members that's not gonna tell you that they got it.
My mama and my daddy got it.
Oh, my dad got it. My mom didn't get it,
Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't know about
my mama, my daddy, my stepdaddy, and I think some of my brothers and sisters got it too.
My mom said it's the mark of the beast, and she's so Christian-y that I know she didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
So that saved her. Her being so religiously, even though there's some religious Christians that did get it because they pastors was telling them or whatever, my mom was like, "Nah, I ain't getting it. That's the mark of the beast."
Yeah, that shit like really, it put me in a fucked up position because I was still in the middle of healing from a lot of different things that went on in my childhood from both of these individuals. So I'm just like, yo, if that was what they was meant to do in this lifetime, to go and get that, they lived their life. They did what they did. And this can make me sound cold-hearted. This can make me sound whatever. What am I supposed to do? My mom, I'm friends with both my mother and my father on Facebook. They know that I was going live. They know what kind of music I make. They are aware of who their daughter is and what time it is. They ain't really in deeply on it because I've never gotten that recognition as their child for any of the things that I've done. I've always been put on the back burner, and that's fine. And that's why my ancestors have always put me first. Mm-hmm. Clearly. So it's just like y'all have lived y'all life. Y'all have made y'all choices. Y'all have tried to mother me and father me the best of y'all ability. I have tried to daughter y'all. Clearly, what I had to say wasn't enough. Y'all chose that life for yourself. Now, all I can do is offer my voice and offer you healing energies when I have the power to send such. Mm-hmm. There's nothing else that I can do after that.
No, there's nothing. There's nothing. And that's the whole point. That's the whole fact of the matter. Just getting back to just domestic violence or abuse overall. As people, we have to take responsibility for what we need to do for not only, first off, our children, mm-hmm. grandchildren, whatever children is around you, you have to be responsible for them. And we haven't, I want to say, our generation lost that connection because our mamas, our big mamas, our mimas, everything used to look out for the grandchildren, the great grandchildren. The responsibility was the children overall. Right. Nowadays, it's like, oh, those ain't my children. Even the aunties used to step in when they needed to. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, it's like, oh, that ain't my baby.
That's your baby. That ain't my baby.
Yes, and everything. Like mm-hmm. No family members fight for their own family.
And they talked about this in the Bible. They literally, and people will post these scriptures all the time, mother against daughter and all this other different shit and everything. They literally are imposing this stuff and making it so because it exists and they're saying it and people are subscribing to it. What if we stop subscribing to that kind of shit? Could that be a something that we could do to change the energy of everything? Because see, with all the traumatic shit that's going on, because we get abused through the news, we get abused through the media, like even just reading stories about other people going through shit, that's a form of like underlying abuse because we all get that stuff injected into our shadow. Our shadow is way more than we think of what we just go through in our lives. It literally has to do with the information and pictures and all that stuff that we intake as well. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? So like, I don't.
That they have. Okay, so I don't know if you've seen this. And I'm going to talk on this subject really quick. But I don't know if you've seen this Blueface and Krishan. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I've been hearing about it, but I just personally don't. It's hard for me to subscribe to celebrity drama because people that I see posting about it be literally speaking on these people's lives like as if they there, like as if it has anything to do with them or what they have going on. And I literally feel the distraction and I completely just tune it out.
Well, the reason I'm bringing it up is because we're talking about domestic violence, and this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Yeah, I'm already knowing.
I subscribe to making sure that I pinpoint it because people wanted me to talk on it because I've been through it.
Yeah.
This is not like I know our community likes to bury this shit. Not only do we like to bury the pedophilia in our community, not only do we like to bury the abuse in our community, we love to bury the domestic violence in our community. And a lot of us grew up under domestic violence situations. You may didn't, but a lot of people did. A lot of me, my family, my cousins. One of my cousins came under here and dropped a super chat and stuff, and was like, because you always speaking the truth. He grew up in an abusive, where his dad my uncle was abusing his mom. Not to put it out there, but yeah, we don't be high what we went through.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this stuff people don't want to talk about. However, they're highlighting this through celebrities in the industry. So you know how they had Bobby and Whitney. Now Krishan and Blueface are targeting our younger people. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
Because they're making it seem like toxic relationships are okay. Domestic violence relationships are okay.
They did that shit with Baby Boy. They did that shit with all of them hood movies and everything else like that too. Like they've been doing this kind of stuff.
But they haven't done nothing on this scale as far as
in a minute. Yeah, that whole Bobby and Whitney situation.
Yeah. Now this is the reincarnated Bobby and Whitney situation is what I'm telling you. But it's for the younger people. Bobby and Whitney was for the older people back then. Right. Now they're targeting the youth with this relationship. Like they did the Chris Brown and Rihanna situation.
That was my time. That was in my era right there.
Right. So they keep reincarnating these things as if that's something that is okay in our community, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to none of it either, but I've been seeing it so much that I went and did research to see who these people were. And now I see they dragging out a toxic relationship, and people are feeling like our young youth is feeling like this is goals.
And seeing it from that perspective, see, because I've never had nobody break down anything about what's going on. I'll just see videos, people giving their opinions, but it's not even an opinion from like a higher state of mind. It's literally like as if they're in the drama and that's it, and they can't.
Yeah, they're just being in the drama.
Right. Mm-hmm. So hearing it from you or what they're trying to do, I'm able to pinpoint the videos that I've watched thus far, that I've seen the footage or whatever, and hearing that and able to put that in perspective. Like, yeah, that's what they're doing, and that's bullshit.
Yeah,
because that's not goals. That's not none of that. And I feel like that's an agenda in itself, man.
They constantly pushing these agendas off into our community, and I'm sick and tired of it. Especially a person like me that's been through domestic violence. Like, I don't know about nobody. Let me just give y'all a story. Like, not even a story. Situation I've been through. Like when I speak on my ex-husband. This isn't my son's father, my young son's father, but this is my ex-husband. Mm-hmm. This was my first abusive relationship ever. We were married. I just had my daughter, which is my first child. It was our first child together. So I was 18 at the time. His mom helped us get a townhouse. We got a townhouse. I had just given birth to my daughter, and I still had stitches because, when you have babies, sometimes you don't open wide enough, whatever, you have stitches. I had
to get some stitches with my son.
Right. So it's called a episiotomy. So, you have to take care. You got to be careful. You got to you got to take care of yourself.
Yeah, that's the most perfect shit ever. I still remember that pain.
Yeah, it's very sensitive, all that stuff. So this nigga beat my ass so bad. My womb is not even healed. Because he was mad because I was trying to breastfeed our daughter. He worked my ass around that place so bad and snatched. At this time, this is when phones used to have like the jacks in the wall. He knew I would call for my mom and them to come get me. He snatched the jacks out the wall. Locked me in the room. Had my baby crying in the other room with him. Literally, he finally let me out the room the next day after he was getting ready to go to school. So he had to get a baby to me. Told me, your nipples are too big. Don't you breastfeed my baby. So after that happened, one day I went to go get the mail. I go to get the mail. he seen me wave to somebody, which was his friend, but lived in the neighborhood. I get in the house, he beat my ass, cut up every single piece of clothing I had to where I only had one outfit to my name, one pair of sandals, and pair of underwear to my name. We lived in Arizona at the time. Like, when I say I've been through abuse, and this is not a joke to me, it's not okay for them to promote that shit like it's cool.
At all.
And that's why it's so big to me to keep putting a blast on this. Not only because I've been shot by somebody that, you know, I have a child with and things like that, but because before that I've been through many. Right now my jaw is dislocated and I have to relocate. I've learned how to relocate my jaw when I eat because I've been hit in my face so many times. So it's not a joke. Like, none of this is a joke to me. So when I saw the Krishan and stuff, I didn't bypass it, because anything that has to do with domestic violence that they're highlighting like it's okay, I can't just let it slide. I got to see what's up with it so I can like dismantle it and be able to utilize my experiences to be able to help other women, because this is serious. Like, this
No, it is.
happens so much.
And see, it's so fucked up because like the videos that I did come across on the internet of their whole situation literally tried to paint her to be crazy as shit. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I know that it's a lot of videos.
They gonna do it to the feminine though. You know they gonna do it to us. They know what time it is.
See, I didn't know that it went that deep into domestic violence and just all of this other stuff. I would hear them saying about her, how she's crazy, how she hits on him, or just other different stuff.
She was in, so she is let me give you background.
All right.
So she is a fighter. She used to be a fighter. Growing up, she went to do like martial arts and stuff. She was a track runner, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. However, he's been mentally abusive to her. So her whole response has been to be physical.
Right.
But if we know anything about physical and emotional, like he's a rapper. She went on a show to be one of his girls. You know how like the flavor of love shit. Yeah. That shit. So he started mentally abusing her. And that's when it became physical on her end of things. I'm not saying it's okay. What I'm saying is that was her reaction.
Right.
You can't always feel like, because as a woman, you're going to get away with certain shit. So for her, it's like, oh, let me two-piece him or whatever the case may be. That doesn't mean she's not getting abused. She's being triggered. And she's being triggered for a reason, because if you think about it, it's being put in the media. So they're doing what they meant to do, which is display separation amongst us as a people.
Right.
They're winning with that. So they're making it seem like amongst our youth that it's okay to have toxic relationships. Because they have money. So it doesn't matter how disruptive it is and disgusting it is with them behind closed doors. But at the end of the day, they get to flash for the cameras and ride in this nice thing. He got a restaurant out in LA, and he, I think he's a boxer too, or some shit like that. So they're making it seem like it's okay.
Trying to make it seem like they're some type of power couple or something.
Some toxic power couple. Now they're okay in the toxic power couple. They're literally piggybacking off of the. I won't say Chris Brown and Rihanna, because that didn't last long, but I want to say Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown for sure.
Yeah.
Everybody's comparing them to the Whitney Houston Bobby Brown situation.
I would say pray for them, but I don't beg for nobody. We just gonna send some energy. Word pray me beg, y'all.
Not for them. I don't even want it for them, because I don't know. Y'all might have got paid to do this stuff.
They always get paid to do this. This is the thing about selling. That's the thing about selling your soul. You feel me? Like when your soul is your personality. You get what I'm saying? Like you sell all of that stuff in order to be able to like they'll use you in whatever way they need you to. They need to use you like in order to gain whatever it is that they're trying to gain. So They could have taken a whole bunch of bread, you feel me, to be able to go out there and thrive in their lower nature. They know we come from darkness anyway, and that it's real easy for us to stay in trauma and stay in darkness and all this other stuff. So literally, that's what they feed trauma. They spoon feed it. But people is so like used to it and addicted to it. They need more. Like if they whole story was to stop right now, I'm gonna tell you right now, people would get mad and upset.
I know.
Because they were so invested in the drama and so invested in the everything. They will literally get mad. Like it's it's kind of like a situation where when you were saying about this whole Stockholm syndrome thing, but I like, and I know that there's degrees to everything. Everything varies by degree. So you know how somebody could fall in love with their abuser, or like all that kind of other different shit. Like it's people that's so in love with trauma and so in love with drama and all of that stuff to where they would really be mad if it all stopped. Like, and that's so sad.
We did a live stream. It's funny you say that because we did a live stream. Rod Hayes and B-Dale, we all were on a live stream the other day. We got questions thrown to us. One of the questions was, well, what do we do when the gray goes down and no, what they say, what do we do when 2028 comes? Right? So we all like, I'm like, y'all want to answer that? Because I didn't want to answer it, but Rob was like, what you mean 2028? Like, we dealing with what we got to deal with now. And our whole idea, like in 2028, my idea is to like be out here, shit is literally cleaned up, meaning we did what we need to do as far as us as a people, and that I'm, out here doing what I'm supposed to do as a man here on this planet. Like that was his response. I'm talking about how do we prepare ourselves for the doom and gloom, and she didn't say it like that, but basically was what she was saying. And I was like, well, I don't know about nobody else, but I haven't gotten any messages of doom and gloom, and that doesn't mean it's not going to happen to anybody else. But the realm that I'm in and the frequency that I'm vibing on, that shit doesn't affect me.
We are too much of an asset. We that are awakened and in our right mind, in our best mind, in our best power, are too much of an asset to this planet and to the functionability of the energy on these ley lines that we step on. We are too important to our ancestors and to the cosmos and to the earth and the soil and the water to ever even be subject to any of that kind of stuff. Now, these places that you constantly see underwater, look at how they treat animals, look at how they treat the land. You know what I'm saying? These people who are constantly getting hit with these fires, look at what they look where they live at, look what they do, look what they be on. You get what I'm saying? Like, what are we gonna do in 2028? Like, we gonna be here. Like, we gonna be here, and this shit's gonna get cleaned up by that time. Like,
we're here for a reason.
Ain't nobody stopping. Like, this is all forward projection and forward propulsion. It's gonna get to the point where a lot of these systems are gonna start breaking down, and people are gonna start rebelling. So seriously, like even with I don't know if you've heard about the whole thing with Nancy Pelosi. Somebody broke into that woman's house. Somebody broke into Nancy Pelosi's house and beat her husband with a hammer. And they was looking for Nancy. They was trying to find her. People ain't finna keep going for this kind of shit no more. They're not finna keep going for these kind of treatments. Once we get out of the fact that we already in hell and there's not no hell to go, there's only heaven to bring, then we'll be in a better state of mind. More people are going to be waking up by the time 2028 comes. But really, there's only a certain amount of the population that needs to even be awakened for what's going to happen.
Facts. When I say she got mad, though, she's like, I'm saying, how do I prepare for a blackout? Blah, blah. I said, we already talked about this shit is so old, but turn your lights off and act as if they're not on, and then you'll learn how to prepare for a blackout.
Look at how many doomsday movies. Doomsday movies, scenarios, all this, 2012. All these movies and everything else like that plays a big part on the thinking that something very cataclysmic or this, that, and the third is going to happen. Even this whole entire shit that they trying to throw around with these nukes. Now, I'm not trying to say that they ain't got no motherfucking nukes that's active. I'm not trying to say that shit is you said not to take threats lightly. We're not doing that here. But our ancestors have been deactivating those nukes by the droves everywhere. There's even a army spot like 40 minutes from where I live at, where they deactivated a nuke, one of the triangular obsidian crafts type of thing out there, deactivating their nukes and everything else like that. They're only going to talk about 2, 3, or 4 of them, but they've been deactivating everything.
I've been telling them. I said, "What happened to Georgia Stones?" I ain't mentioning that. I've been told people that it was the ancestors that destroyed that shit. They won't speak. Let me tell you something. If it was something outside of our ancestors, y'all would still hear them trying to investigate what the fuck happened.
Right.
They didn't do that shit. Our ancestors did that shit.
Exactly.
Period.
And that's my thing.
That was a message.
I'm gonna be real. I haven't, like, ever since I've been tapped in, and I've came across my soul tribe. I've came across people who are, you know, operating out of the light and the formless and all of those other different things like that. I haven't even really seen a whole bunch of us go through stuff. Like, I know this stuff still happens. People are still living their own individual lives, but us that are in our state of protection and knowing how to speak to this universe and knowing how that we are the God, we are the power, and what we say is what it will be. I haven't seen a whole bunch of us going through stuff, like even losing family members or losing this or anything. I haven't seen a whole bunch of that stuff.
I haven't.
But other people who were still in these churches praying to these gods and this and that, they've been dropping. There ain't nothing. I used to get real just offended when I see people, oh, no sage, no universe, just Jesus, and just all this other stuff like that. Like, you don't even have proper protection, my guy. Like, you don't have proper protection over your life, over yourself. You get what I'm saying? You're going outside of yourself. Instead of speaking from yourself. Your ancestors live inside of your DNA. They live inside of your bones. They live inside of your blood. They live inside of your ether.
Those are the ones that were here before you came. You are just reincarnated as them. Like, period.
I would rather call on, because you got to think, everybody in here needs to pull up an ancestor chart. Y'all need to see, because you know your mama, you got your mama and your daddy, then they got a mama and a daddy, then them mamas and daddies got mamas and daddies, and then them mamas and daddies got mamas and daddies. Now, this is the thing about it though. When it comes down to the elder work, when it comes down to the ancestors, that's all feminine energy. That's gonna go back way further than what your elders will ever do. So calling on your ancestors, you're calling on energy that's been here since the beginning. And I tell you it works. And I'm telling you it's there for you. I done been in situations where something could have happened or should have happened or whatever. And it wasn't. Let me just give you an example. It was this one time I was driving to the store because I gave the scenario of me leaving the laundromat. I'm going to give you another one. Same car, right? No tags. Running out of gas. I got $5. I'm going to go down to the store, put this $5 in my tank. As I'm driving from my old house, I literally say, I am invisible to the law unless I need help. If I need help and this car stops, then whatever officer sees me or whatever person sees me, they will help me and they will go on to the best of their ability and they will go on about their way. I'm down the street in the middle between the gas station and the park or whatever. My car stopped in the middle of the street. As soon as it stops across from me at the street light, it's a police car right there. Okay. They go, they see that my car stopped, they shine their lights, they park their car in the middle. This man hops out of his car, helps me push my car off to the side of the road where it's safe, and gave me the last $5 out of his wallet. Didn't check no tags. Didn't look for nothing. And said, you have a good night. If I had more, I would have gave it all to you.
Damn.
Don't play. When you know who you are, you know what time it is. So this is why, like, I'm not even like, I really would like to start a boycott on arguing with people who don't want this work. Like, we don't even need to do that no more, because look, those is the people that's going to complain about how messed up the world is, or what we going to do in 2028, or how we going to do this, or how we going to do that. No, how about we just start speaking the things that we would like to see on this planet? Hey, you know, crime getting low, getting lower. Like, ain't nobody even really killing nobody no more like that. We have enough power collectively to start. Didn't it say if only 2 or 3 are gathered in my name? If we all gather in the name of the great mother, which is the powerhouse, mama is who's coming back.
The proof is in the fact that we knew that they had a whole agenda for 5G to be able to try to suppress us of our powers. And as you see, we've overpowered 5G. That shit ain't even working.
Ain't working at all. And this is my thing about that too. We need to understand, and overstand all of us together, because as I say this, I'm still researching. I can show you I can show y'all my, like, you know how YouTube got what you didn't looked at. I literally type in melanin and radiation, melanin.
I know. I told them that too. You the one put me on game on the
my
radiation.
mama. I gotta see how melanin. I gotta see how eumelanin, neuromelanin, pheomelanin. I need to see how all melanocytes. I need to see how all of this stuff reacts with everything. This is why they've never dropped nukes where niggas is. They know we gonna turn into gods.
Yeah, we still
all it is them harnessing the power of the sun and bringing it down to a lower form. What is you talking about? If they ever drop a nuclear bomb where we are, we're not gonna die. We're not gonna die. We're gonna be stripped away from what we thought reality was, but we're not gonna die. We're gonna power on. And that's why they've never done it. They could do it in a Nagasaki and a Hiroshima. It ain't many of us out there that's like that. And if they was, I bet you they still alive and thriving right now.
Well, they definitely thriving. They don't even the Aborigines to those places don't even mix with those people. They don't mix with them. So the Aborigines to every piece of the land are really dark people.
Mm-hmm.
They're not light people. That goes for Asia. That goes for Australia. Y'all got to go do your own research. They really have their own tribes and communities way off that they don't even let media come out there. They will literally they still use arrows and shit. They'll blow their fucking head off with an arrow or they try to come.
Yo, sis, I told myself that I was gonna give because I've been really like studying the last couple of days real heavily, and I told myself I wasn't gonna do it today, but one word came up, and I pulled up the etymology of it. I have got to read this to you. I gotta read this to y'all. This is the word talent. Okay, all right, because this is what they use our talents for us to sell our soul. You know, the whole jug. Okay, so talent from the late 13th century. An inclination, meaning a liking to do something. A disposition, meaning what you think and how you feel. Your will and your desire. From, in classical Latin, it meant a balance, a weight, or a sum of money. From Greek, the word talenton, it means a balance, a pair of scales. So we're going to go down here. An ancient denomination of weight. Originally Babylonian, though the name is Greek. Now, somebody told me that our true history, the Melanite woman, is all up and throughout Greek history and Greek mythology. That's where the masses of our stuff is hidden. And I'm gonna be real. In this etymology, they got more words where they show what it is in Greek and that it has Greek origin than anything. I've been doing etymology for a long time. Greek is all up and throughout all of this stuff. And it says, and varying widely in value among different peoples at different times. So your talent, they literally weighed. That was an ancient denomination of weight. That brings together everything about why they sell their souls and why they do this. In Babylonian times, for one, that's the time when the great mother went into exile. The great mothers, the great sibyls and everything went into exile because all of them people from ancient Egypt, which I personally have never been able to tap into. I have the only ancient Egyptian deity that's ever even came to my awareness is Anubis. Why? Because Anubis is the gatekeeper of hell. Anything dealing with the gatekeeper of hell is dealing with our true origins, and that's real. Like anything coming up out of the dark, because that darkness, that divinity is light. So other than that, the Babylonian times, that was when the falls of the great mother over there in the African continent, all of that stuff was happening. When they was going in raiding churches. Like, you know how people try and say, oh, you know, Zeus and Apollo. Well, Zeus is Horus and Apollo is Dionysius and all these different beings. Like these forms of abuse, they go all the way back. And they got that magic that cannot be matched.
Oh, they talking about the Aborigines. I just posted that a while ago. Talking about the Aborigines where they can't, even in Asia, our people in Asia and things like that, they can't go to their lands because they have already warded the people that are not for them off from those. So media can't even go there. So a lot of people, and they've spoke about this, and a lot of people don't know. At the end of the day, they have warded these, like those lands are theirs. They have gotten rid of a lot of Aborigine, but they still have some there, and they make it to where those I want to call them $5 Asians too. Those beings can't even go to, they don't even want to go there because they know that they have so much magic there. They can get rid of them the moment they try to cross the barriers. That's theirs.
And that's the magic we need to be tapping back into.
Exactly.
I've been coming to the conclusion that I have to be okay with seeing bodies collapse. I have to be okay with seeing things happen, because if somebody was to come to this door with that funk, on my mama, I'm turning up. I'm turning up the juice. I gotta do it. I know my heart. I know my ways. I know all of that. But when it come down to it, I'm fighting with the strength of millions of ancestors, and they all surrounded me. I feel them tangibly.
Me too. That's why I'm be
There's a
waving.
lot of things that we got to come to terms with. That's why, and I feel like right there, that's why we got to get our shadows in order, and why we got to do all of these things within self. It ain't even about, it's about everybody, but it's about self first. Doing that is what's going to bring everything in together with all of us, because this, everything that's getting light shined on it right now, this is the perfect time for us to create plans on how to stop it.
Yep.
A lot of stuff can get stopped through it being exposed.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? So bringing light to this and not sweeping things under the rug anymore, calling shit like it is. Like, we need that. Mm-hmm. Like, I swear I've been going back and forth for the longest on if I really want to even start this podcast or do this or whatever.
Wait, what are you waiting for?
I don't know, Dre.
No, do it. You know, I started Drea Talk back in 2008, and then I picked it up again like way years later. And now I'm just starting to be really focused on it and keep bringing it forward. Like, at the end of the day, it's not about how many people are viewing it. It's about the truth that you are putting out there. Yeah. And at the end of the day, right now, truth is actually what's popular, even though they're not putting it on media. Truth is popular. We can see that.
Because people are searching for it, they're hungry for it, they're seeking because
they've been lies. So and this is the age of Aquarius. So right now, the lies ain't gonna stand. The truth is what people like innately are searching for, because that awakeness in the Aquarius age is what has already happening.
Yes, already popped everything off for real.
Yeah. The great conjunction, when everybody was like, oh, you're gonna have all these powers. Your power is to be awakened. Your power is to now be able to discern. People that didn't have discernment and intuition, people that didn't even know their power as far as whether they can levitate, their power as far as the telekinesis, their power as far, like all of that was heightened during that time. And everybody was looking for these superpowers because they had people like Rashad and other people, distracting them to all of this, when really they should have been going within, and their power was within. So whatever your power was, you would have already known what has already been heightened from that. Because nobody else can tell you what that is within you.
No, you got to find it within yourself. And a lot of it comes from healing. Through healing from different things is where you really find your power. And when I see people just pointing the finger, like that's a lot of the shit that Rashad would do, like point the finger and this and that. He would never promote healing. He would never promote shadow work. He would never promote anything that's going to elevate the soul, elevate the spirit. You get what I'm saying? Like, it was all just comical, just whatever. And this is not to, just throw out everything he didn't have to say. I mean, there was a couple of things that he passed on as knowledge that seemed like it was whatever, but a lot of this shit I found off of goddamn fandom, off of the comic stuff. And then I know that they put a lot of our truth in comic books, so I'm not knocking that shit either. But at the end of the day, the agendas behind that whole situation and really being an underlying pedophile, I don't trust nothing that you had to say. I feel like it was all just a made up rhetoric because you had an underlying agenda to do whatever, and that's just what that is.
Facts. We gotta, like, at the end of, somebody asked from Rod Hayes and B Dill's live stream we did about shadow work, and I personally messaged them about how to do shadow work, because they were thinking it's like a certain way or certain steps you got to do. one thing I want to tell y'all about shadow work, you hear that all the time from spiritual community or people, spiritual beings that are connected with shadow work. Shadow work is dealing with things that have held you down, dealing with the heaviness of your life. It can be now in the future, it can be now in the present, it could be in the past. Whatever it is, be able to face it, be able to cry through it, be able to laugh through it, be able to be angry through it, be able to forgive through it, be able to even look at yourself and be forgiven of the things that you have done. It's not necessarily what other people have done, but you may have done to yourself.
It's
That's
more about
all.
yourself than anything.
It's all about going within with self and being able to cleanse those things. Erica Badu, when she said bag lady, I'm just utilizing that for example. Bag lady was about her being able to all those things she was carrying, be able to release them one by one. Because there was so many things. Us as women, we carry so many bags. We carry so many other people things. Even with this domestic violence I was speaking on, as women, we carry the trauma of men, which is
We
why
carry the trauma of this world, the same trauma that this planet and this soil and these waters and everything and these animals go through. We carry all that. We can, and if it all directly affects us for real.
Yeah. So with that being said, it's just like, men or women, whatever traumas or whatever, not necessarily traumas, whatever hardships, whatever you're dealing with, it's about facing those things. It's about facing them head on. And it's all within you, not somebody else, but facing what's within you, being able to take those things one by one and handling them to where it becomes lighter for you like a feather. Whenever we think about the balance of, Libra, the Libra scale on the balance. Once you start lightening those things, because right now the scale is unbalanced. You got a lot of heavy weight on you that's there, and then you're, where you want to get or where you need to get to the point where it's even. You have to get rid of some of that heavy shit, and so a lot of that heavy shit. So that's what basically shadow work is. It's getting rid of the heaviness and not necessarily wanting somebody to forgive you or somebody to give you a forgiveness or somebody to say they did what they did to you. That's something you're going to have to handle on your own. Everybody is not going to come and basically say, hey, I was wrong to you, or
I had to learn that shit the hard way.
Man, like, you gonna cry, you gonna fucking scream. I threw shit. I literally, many times I was in a mirror, like it took me months and upon months. Like I was in mirrors sometimes just crying, ugly as hell. Like,
me too. Hey, there be some of the most uplifting cries though.
Feeling light as fuck. People like,
hey, look on everything. God, you saying the real, man. Yeah, you gotta go and my thing about it is you gotta go into shadow work with some sort of love for yourself. You cannot let this world deplete you so much to where you can't even look at you in the face. You got to be able to face you. You got to be able to face your thoughts. You got to be able to face all of everything within yourself because it's ultimately for you. And like what I would like to throw in like with shadow work, because and this is something that I kind of did like this as an example, and because inner child work is a whole different light too. That's you working on your inner child from like different things that you experienced in your upbringing and stuff like that was part of your programming. Like for me, when I was shadow working and dealing with inner child work at the same time. So I went back to I'll use the night that I came out to my mama as an example. So I was 12 years old. I remember it was a really big storm happening outside, lightning, everything. It was like, and it was in the summertime. It was a summer storm, like a tropical storm or whatever. And I was crying and all this other stuff. And I went to my mama's room and I told her to come to my room. And so she came and I just told her like, I just want to tell you something. I don't wish for you to be sad or hurt or whatever. I just have to tell you the truth about how I feel. And she was like, what? And I told her that I like girls. And so when I told her that, she kind of just stared at me and like a tear fell down, kind of like the same way she did when I told her I was pregnant with my son and handed her my pregnancy stick to show her that I was pregnant. And, she didn't say anything to me after that. She just walked out crying. And so I literally went into a meditation and I envisioned this, me doing shadow work, inner child work. I literally went back in time in my own head and envisioned everything how it played out as much as I could remember it. And as my mom was walking out of my old room, I was right there next to the doorway and watched her walk past, felt all of her thoughts, her confusion, felt everything that she felt as my mom hearing that come out my mouth, because my mom was raised by a church going woman. You know, my granny was real church going, you know, so I can only imagine what my mama was going through hearing that come out of my mouth. And, you know, we've been damned to hell. Just going into it though, I literally, when my mama walked out, I walked in as my adult me in this meditation, and I sat beside myself on the bed because I remember that I was laying there crying, confused because she didn't talk to me after that. And I'm gonna be real, my mama didn't talk to me for like 3 days after that. That was like the longest. My whole life changed from the moment I let those words come out my mouth. My whole entire life experience changed from that point. So I literally went as my adult me and sat on the side of my bed, and I rubbed my own head, and I literally just told myself, I gave myself game. Like I gave myself advice, let her know that no matter what, you'll be loved, and everything that you're about to go through and everything that you're about to endure is only to make you the strongest warrior that you've ever met in your life. Like I literally went in mentally and did this. And I'm telling you, when I kissed myself on the forehead and I walked out the room and woke up out my meditation, by the time I woke up out my meditation, I was sweating and had tears. I didn't feel them. I was there. You get what I'm saying? Like it's so many things that we can do. Power, that's a gift. Any of us have the ability to go in and rewire and redo any situation in order for it to fix our brain and for it to help. And from that point forward, I was able to make a lot of different changes and I don't know, a lot of different changes in my thought processes and a lot of different changes in everything, just basically going in within myself and giving myself the support that I felt that I needed as a child and coming out like that. You get what I'm saying? And I've done stuff like that with shadow working on all kind of stuff. Like I went back to okay, I went back in times where, you know, I was in very, very low vibrations, felt, you know, like my confidence was low. I was in a club, I was drinking. I am a, like, I used to be an alcoholic for real. Like I almost drank myself to the grave, like when I was like 21, 22. You know what I'm saying? I went and sat with myself in meditation, you know, in times where I was at my lowest of lows, and sat with all the things that I repressed, all the things and parts of me that I didn't accept because others didn't accept, that I didn't love because others didn't love. And I started to love on that and shed light on that. And it literally started to break away pieces of all of that.
That's what it is. It's
And
about
that's what it
loving
is.
your inner self. It's about loving who. It's about, first off, unpacking those things that people have put on you, unpacking
Hmm.
those things that that you have accustomed to because you felt like that's what you were supposed to be accustomed to because people told you that.
Yeah.
Once you start like unpacking all those things, like you say, going to your childhood traumas, but really understanding who you are as a child. Because once you
Yeah.
understand who you are as a child, that allows you to rebuild from that childhood to become who you want to be as an adult.
Understand who I was as a child. I got some inner child work to do. You gave me something just now because
Yeah.
I really don't remember who I was as a child, because I remember some good times happening, but at the point of the different traumas and stuff that I've been through, I don't really remember a lot of things that I used to do or used to be, you know, just different stuff like that. I don't remember.
We had goals and we had things that we were into as children. I talk about this all the time about the rocks. And when my mom got rid of the rocks, now
Hmm.
I have a crystal store and shit like that. We talked about that. But honestly, going back into that as a child, you had different dreams and aspirations, but the adults that were in your life deterred you from those different things. So that doesn't mean that's not who you were supposed to be. That just means that you had people that put their own perceptions on you, and they guided you to what they wanted you to be versus what you want to be. So going back into that childhood or that inner child allows you to be who you really are supposed to be. So sometimes we're not even to our full capacity of who we really can be because we have to now unpack who we are really versus who they made us to be.
I wonder if that's why I haven't been able to just really just put permanent deciphers on certain things that call out to me that I know call out to me to do on a daily. But I just it's parts of me that just feels like it's not gonna be successful, or it's not gonna be this, or it's not gonna be that.
Because
Because
it's
like
probably been fed into you.
I've just watched all my siblings, like, and this is another form of abuse too. I feel like I've literally watched all my siblings get fed these silver plattered spoons and stuff. I've seen all of their dreams and accomplishments. My dad posted pictures of my, brothers and sisters graduated from college. My mom bragging on my brother because he's, a big time music producer, and he's best friends with Eric Bellinger, and Eric Bellinger
But
tells
yet he hasn't used that to be able to support you in your rap career.
right. He got all these famous people calling my mama, telling her happy birthday and all this other stuff like that. But like literally told me that I was just a rapper that makes tribute songs for people he knew in real life, like this man on my shirt. And this
Wow.
man is the on my shirt is the reason why I even tapped into to conscious rap the way I have in the first place, for real. And
Wow.
like this, I've like, even with my gay brother, like when I told my mom, you feel me, that he was gay, because I'm the one that found the proof and the evidence and gave it to my mom, presented it to her some years down the line. And her response was, oh, well, he's grown now and out of my house. There's not nothing I can do about it. But like my mom, when my brother would come down from LA, because he didn't got my mama a Benz, he didn't put her in a Benz and all kind of different stuff like that. He can come in with his husband and take my mama out to lunch and to eat and everything else like that. There was a time for 4 years I asked my mama if I could take her out for us to go eat some dinner somewhere or some lunch somewhere, and we never went.
That
Like those, shit like that's, I don't, emotional abuse. I don't know what to even place that as, but it's just like a feeling of just being like alone, and like feeling like nobody likes anything that I do, or any, like, even, and I know I probably irked the shit out my wife with this. I don't know, but I always be like asking, like, are we good, and is everything, like, are you okay with whatever I'm doing, or this and that. And it's just because I'm so used to people just exiting stage left, and just seeing that I'm not whatever no more, and leaving. Shit, I don't know. It's just been happening to me since I was a child. So like this all this shit is an ongoing battle, and I tried my best. And I feel like that's what made me jump into spirituality so deeply, because once I connected to my ancestors and I connected to my grandmothers, I started to feel some sense of belonging, because there was a point I didn't even want to be here no more. I really wanted to just end it all. You know what I'm saying?
at
And
the end of the day, we can't depend on people that are in the physical realm, but we can. I can't say
always
we can
depend on
depend
the
on people that's
ancestors.
in the physical realm, but you can depend on your ancestors because they are reincarnated as you, and not only you, they have the downloads of who they are and the energy that we need. They provided for us. So the best thing you can do is depend on them and not people outside of yourself. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? And the DNA that you come from, because you're here to change things that they weren't able to do. So, like, you came back to carry the torch on, but to also to change the things that were done wrong and to make them right, so that you break those generational curses. So you're guided by the right people. You just have to continuously tap into the right people and not worry about the people outside of self, even if it is your spouse. Like, we have to learn how to trust ourselves and go within ourselves. That's the biggest thing.
You're right. And see, I appreciate that. Like I said, me being the youngest, like I said, I got a big sister. We don't talk, like my big sister. She woke, got a whole podcast, everything. I don't talk to her though. Like I don't like my dad never made it to where we were just connected like that. He didn't do what he was supposed to do, and I've tried, but it's just they were brought up completely different. And so even just being able to have someone who I can hear that kind of wisdom, that kind of advice, like I don't, I be needing that kind of stuff for real. Cause even you hearing that, like, it's so soothing to where now I could place some things into perspective and heal up some stuff that I know I've been needing to heal up for real. And that's probably why I haven't been able to do much of the things that I've been trying to do, because it's all layered. It's all
Yeah.
layered. It's all just in there. But thank you for that.
It's
I
all
appreciate
within
that.
you. Like, honestly, like, I see you being a torch of your ancestors, and that's probably what the problem is. Even if they're awakened, they probably don't get the same messages you get because you're part of the youth. And so right now it's very important that we reach the youth. And that's why I do what I do. As you see, I don't worry about reaching these older people. I worry about reaching out to the youth, and you're part of the youth. Oh, I love that kitty cat.
This is my Shadow Moon. Say hi, Shadow.
Oh,
He got his Halloween fit on.
I see.
He's a mummy.
But sis, we gonna do this again. I gotta end it because one, I've been on here 3 hours and I definitely have to pee.
Yeah, definitely. We can do this.
My
again.
husband probably like, dang, she been on here for so long.
No, I guess like I said, but this all this stuff needed to be talked about because we all collectively need to heal, and we need to stop with these low vibrational things, and we need to start speaking out about these low vibrational things and shedding light on it. We can't, because if we don't expose it, people will still keep doing it in the dark. You know what I'm saying? They'll still keep doing that stuff. So us coming in with these high vibrational lights, like, no, we're not accepting this no more. We're not accepting what you're putting before us. This not going down. That's what's going to be the staple and changing everything that's going on right now. So
big
I love you, sis.
I love you too. Thank you for
being
jumping on. You know, I always appreciate your intelligence and the higher vibrations that you bring and frequency that you bring of knowledge, period. Because you teach me. You know, so
hey, look, this is a back and forth thing. I'm telling you, I'm finna go deal with myself. I'm finna go sit and think about some stuff. No, because I've been real scared to do some things, but I got some stuff I need to do for us, and it's
only up from here. Period.
When it says all money in, and the money is the heart on everything. It ain't even nothing dealing with financials.
It's up.
It's
Period.
up. All right, I love everybody on here.
Thank you, everybody, for coming on and joining us. We really appreciate you all.
We appreciate
of course, I know y'all love King Breezy, so she gonna be back. We gonna be back. So that's what it is. Peace.
Yeah. All right, I love you, sis.
Love you too.
Okay.